How's it going, everyone? And welcome to another episode of No Excuses with your favorite show hosts, Still.
Bernarian.
And Volacel, and I am reliably informed that the adorable singing bug does survive.
With a new hat.
Yay!
Yes, anyway.
Yes.
So, we had bringing today's news and games commentary for the week, or we were if there was any, which there isn't, because half of the game's commentary at were busy playing Silksong, and the other half were busy making sure everybody knows what a moral black hole they are. So, we will mush on anyway. If you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw. You can join us in the Discord server, the best place to communicate with the show and other listeners to the show. And you can do so by clicking on the link provided in the show description on the show archive on YouTube.
Yes, indeed. And for the record, if you are in the category and somehow stumbled upon this show that we're dancing excessively this weekend or this week when current events happened, my official stance on you is KYSIRL. Please, K, thanks.
That's okay. This whole week has basically been one gigantic dumpster fire. So let's talk about fun stuff. Vidya.
Yep.
So unfortunately, there's not going to be a whole lot of news at the end of this week because Nintendo had their Nintendo Direct, but it was
everybody was
non-event.
Everybody was playing Silksong that I knew.
Everyone's playing Silksong, and the Nintendo Direct. It's like, here's this game where you build an island, except you're playing as a Ditto. So
yeah, and here's a few more bits of Metroid Prime 4. Okay.
Yeah, here's Samus with a motorbike. That's it. That's your lot. Get out.
Okay, that actually made me more worried for the game, Nintendo, but okay.
Even one of my technicians was her husband is playing Silksong, and she was chattering to me at length about how adorable Sherma was.
Yes, everyone loves Sherma.
Yep. So, this week...
actually, the biggest bit of news, aside from all the terribleness, was actually the death of Haru Uraha.
Yeah.
That's kind of...
Good innings for a horse, I've got to say. Good innings for a racehorse. Most aren't going to live that long.
Oh, was that what all the memes were about, that horse?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not understand the context of those.
Haru Uraha is a racehorse who was legendarily unsuccessful. It was kind of the runt as a foal, and was sort of reluctantly purchased in the end. And it was a difficult and shy horse, and was generally unsuccessful. Although her jockey was famously fond of her and refused to ride anybody else.
I knew she was popular as a horse in Uma Musume because I'd seen the name a lot. I didn't know her real life horse died, though. I thought it was just more Uma Musume.
Her real life horse passed away recently. It was a very popular horse because as much as the character was popular amongst people who know race horses, the real horse was popular as sort of like a never give up underdog character. But Haru Uraha retired a long time ago and has now passed away at age 29, I believe.
Pretty old for a horse.
Which is very old for a racehorse in particular.
I don't know the exact normal lifespan of horses, even though I live right next to somebody that keeps them all the dang time. They have this summer they found a bucket and decided it was a drum. It went on for several weekends.
Horses are weird like that. But
I've never been able to get a sense for how intelligent horses actually are.
I'm at this point convinced that horses are just trolls, because they will be stupid right up until the point that they're not.
But yeah, the high end of horse lifespans is about 30 years, but racehorses tend to get their metabolism absolutely pounded when they're young, so they don't generally last so long.
If injury doesn't get them before that.
Yeah, usually injury does.
Yeah.
Or genetic issues.
Yeah, there's a lot of inbreeding in the racehorse industry.
Yeah, like that's one of the things that most Uma Musume fans end up getting surprised by, is that basically all the horses are related to each other.
Yeah, But no, just don't think about that. Think of the cute, klutzy waifu.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 of the characters in that game are still their namesake horses are still alive. Like Goldship
It's
is
not
still
many.
alive, and I think Daiwa Scarlet might be still alive, and all the other horses have passed on.
A lot of them passed
think.
along on quite some time ago in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, the stories are basically written based on their career legends, so most of them don't become characters unless their career is long over. And I'm pretty sure that the only reason Goldship is still alive is to troll everybody.
See,
Because
horses are trolls.
well, Goldship is sort of exceptional in that case. I don't know if you ever watched the Uma Musume anime, but
I really
Goldship is
should,
quite the
I think, at this
character.
point.
Goldship is quite the character. And the real horse Goldship is very similar to the anime character, and the anime character is unbelievably eccentric. Like Goldship has cost like punters and owners millions and millions and millions of yen simply because it felt like trolling rather than racing on a given day.
Yep.
And it's like, no, I'm not actually going to leave the starting gate.
Just
Or
nah.
I'm going to squabble with the horse in the next stall over and distract the both of us from leaving at the starting gate.
Yeah.
Like this is the sort of thing that horse does, and it's got a tendency to randomly attack people as well.
Yeah, I used to actually have pet horses, and they have personality, let's just say.
Yeah, that's why I say that I'm not really like it's very, very unusual for an obligate herbivore to be particularly intelligent. Like, it's just not something that is selected for. And horses sort of break the mold a little bit because the low end of horse intelligence isn't much cleverer than a cow. But the high end of horse intellect is sort of like on the level of a clever dog.
Yep. Like, you get a smart horse and you leave it alone with a locked gate, or a latched gate, I should say, it will figure out how to open that latch. With its lips. So, yeah. I'm going to run away and actually do something semi-productive. I don't know what I want to do, though.
Going to prance slowly after you.
As a dear friend.
As Laumado.
What do I actually need? Purple flowers. Always purple flowers. So I'm gonna go fly around in the rocks again. So anywho, so yeah, news has been pretty light on this week.
Oh,
There's a few things.
It's been heavy, as I found after I came out of my cave. But
yeah,
just for all the wrong reasons.
So we'll come back to the Nintendo Direct thing, because there was 1 or 2 things in there that were at least interesting.
Run, please push buttons.
Oh, hang on, I tabbed out, and Mavwika just got. Right. Because you're supposed to be safe on the teleport points, but you're not always.
Yeah, I teleported to you and was immediately in combat.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah. Oh, save us.
Me to do much damage here. I'm a flipping deer with no gear.
No deer gear? Shit.
Like, I have a set that is the right set. I don't think a single main stat is correct.
Oh, this is not.
This is
not a good
bad.
design decision. Oh no, Nod Cry, you've made a poor decision.
What do they do?
You can't turn into a Kuhenki in somebody else's world.
Wait, what now?
I don't know how to explain what I just said, to Fern.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got no context for that.
Imagine if you could not possess Saurians in somebody else's world.
Ugh.
It's a slightly less extreme version of that, but still pretty extreme.
Oh, I've got all
is
the moon pearls I need, so if you want to kidnap Ferns just in case.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
I
Roughly where in the patch of darkness is that island?
I know the rough direction. Let me heal up, and I'll come try and take you to it. So, some context.
If I go to Nokai, I'm probably going to get abducted.
Yeah. Well, I think you got to do
Maybe.
the intro quest to see it, but I don't know if teleporting you will quick track you or what.
Oh, did you finish Natland, Fern?
Not yet, no.
No, so you haven't met Anepha, so obviously it can't trigger. You can still use the teleport point to go there, though.
Yeah, the teleport point is still active, so I can go there.
That's how I got there, obviously.
Yeah, it might just skip, trigger the story skip or something. I don't know. I don't want to risk it.
Yeah, I'll
Farina, you're up.
I will attempt to locate Vol through the darkness because I don't know where he went and what elevation he's at.
All right. So anyway, let us jump into weeks then, shall we?
Yep.
Well, a good chunk of my week has been Skong, but I haven't gone as far as I'd like. I'm kind of taking it slow and really enjoying the thing.
I mean, you can take it slow and enjoy the thing. I'm all for that. But there's a lot of video game there.
There's a lot of video game there. And now that Ari's kind of hit the end of it and knows how long the thing is, it's like, yeah, I'm still in the early game.
You're still in the very early game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the technician that I mentioned earlier said that her husband finished it without a 100% clear on his first playthrough at about 40 hours-ish.
All right.
And
so
then
about a
went back
40-hour average for
to keep
standard.
clearing. Aristeal, on the other hand, poked into every single corner conceivable.
Got to 97 without a guide, and then went and looked up the last bit, and that took me 64, 63 hours, something like that.
Yeah, so it's a solid game.
There's a lot of vidya there.
There's a good amount of vidya. And yeah, I'm just getting up into Sinner's Row, and yeah. On the plus side, I did beat one of the nerfed bosses before it got nerfed. That honestly didn't really need a nerf.
Yeah, I don't know why they nerfed Sister Splinter. I wonder if there was just a. So, I'm gonna interject a bit here. Now that I'm out of the total media blackout, the first thing I did was I went and looked up what the commentariat and the player base at large was doing. I keep trying to get to Vault showing already away.
This, of course, was a mistake.
Well, it gives me an idea for what stage we're at for discussions about any game with teeth to it. And we are still very firmly in the whiny crybaby stage.
Hornet says, get good.
We are in the super whiny crybaby stage for this one, and I imagine it will be extended because of the hype train bringing in a crap load of tourists.
Well, that's kind of always the way. That's just how it do.
Yeah. So, you're going to see a lot of people complaining about stuff that if they thought about it for 5 minutes or experimented with their buttons would not have had a problem, or if they just practiced a little bit. But unfortunately, those people are incredibly loud in the discussions right now about how everything is too hard. And until the tourists get properly filtered, I mean, this happens with every game with teeth in it. And I guess because Sister Splinter is so early, because they dumped the big movement upgrades on you almost right away, and Sister Splinter guards the wall jump, and Morwing blocks off the entire eastern half of the map. If you or Greymore,
unless you skip him.
Yeah, unless you move the Fleet Caravan and just skip him.
Yeah. So you skipped him as well, did you? Until
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, he surprised me by accident after the
Eh.
fleet caravan moved.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can skip him by moving the fleet caravan. They nerfed him. The one change I can kind of understand, at least a little bit, is nerfing a bunch of the environmental damage down to one mask. Um,
Yeah. Not all of it though.
yeah, not all of it, but some of the parts, especially the parts that are part of runbacks, and just in general part of gauntlets of the stuff. Um, Having it be at what you call it, 3 damage, or not 3 damage, 2 damage, is just it makes you have to come back from the bench more. So I guess it doesn't really add
Yeah.
that much to difficulty. It adds more stress to when you're doing it, but I can see how
I'd
people.
rather just do the run back quicker and get it done with rather than worrying excessively about taking excessive damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's mostly what they nerfed. Oh, and they nerfed rosary costs. This I also don't really have a problem with. It's mostly the boss nerfs I raise a big eyebrow at, because
Yeah.
that seems like uh, maybe you shouldn't respond that quick on those.
Yeah, I haven't
Fundamentally,
noticed.
it's not a game about farming, so it shouldn't matter all that much
It
if
really
they
doesn't.
nerf costs.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed a huge decrease in costs. It's more just a little bit here
Well,
and there, so it's not.
it's mostly the benches and the bellways in the mid game that had their costs nerfed because they were like 70 a pop,
Yeah, which is getting a bit much.
and they upped the rosary reward from quest rewards and lore turn-ins.
Yeah, basically they just cut out a bunch of farming.
Yeah.
Which, like, there's a few spots where you just run in, bop a bunch of enemies, collect a bunch of rosaries, run back to the bench, repeat. And that's on really just kind of kills the momentum in a lot of cases. So I don't mind that. That's fine.
Here, you can follow the deer. I can see these things on the map.
So yeah, because I did Sister Splinter though, it's like she's got a very simple move set.
It's a very mechanical moveset, but it's very
Straightforward. It's like three ground pounds, summon thorns,
punch
summon
thorn.
ads.
Yeah, punch thorns.
Yeah, the ads honestly were the more annoying bit because if you leave a couple of thorn vines off the sides of the map where they're not really going to cause too much problem, they can go and hide in them, so you can't really see what they're doing.
All
But
found
How many
beyond
things
that,
do I even need?
like 165.
That's a lot of balls.
I was able to get it in 2 respawns, or rather, the initial batch plus 1 respawn, so two spawns of them. I lost it. There's a crap load of these all clustered together in a bunch of places. Oh,
Yeah, I know, because even though I've only just started on Cry, I've already got like a small mountain of them.
yeah. There was actually a bug with the battle pass where you could pick a local specialty. If you picked these, it gave you like Razor's wolf hooks instead.
Oh
What?
no!
And they had
He's the
to.
only one who needs those, isn't he?
I think so. That and some recipes. So they had to issue 30 moon pearls to everybody that picked that one as compensation.
Yeah, they goofed. So yeah,
Down this way.
yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying the scones. But yeah, I got a lot of Vigi to go.
Yeah, it's a big one. When they said they just kept making stuff, they weren't kidding.
Yeah.
I think the final area count is like 28 full mapped areas.
Yeah.
That all are explorable, and none of them are like, you might count one of them as a baby zone.
Bellheart.
No, Bellheart has the caves.
Yeah, the caves weren't. Yeah, the caves, I suppose. Stupid dark cave and those little bell bug thingies.
Lots and lots of hidden pathways in those caves.
Yeah.
And
every time you think you've gone deep, all the way down, you find another another way to make things
Oh,
go deeper.
have you found both the up and the down caves?
I found the down caves. I see the mark on the map for the up caves, but I don't know how to get into them yet.
Yeah, because so Belhart's about twice as big as you see on your map.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I figured there was a lot more to go there.
Yeah, have you?
When you first get to Belhart, though, it's like it's one room and that's it.
Well, for me, it was you come in through the top caves and drop from the ceiling because I took the fun way.
Yeah.
This is another thing I noticed with both of us playing Silksong and discussing last week our experiences. Um, we both took radically different routes through the game.
Yep.
Like, so divergent, it's hilarious. I actually found my way in Act 2 without doing the boss that everybody cries about. And saw I was in Act 2, I'm like, wait, I still got more to go, and backed out.
Yeah. Whereas I went and I did Hunter's Cry in its entirety.
Yeah, I did.
Probably well before I was supposed to, but
I did Hunter's March as soon as I could access
that's
it.
smart.
The microsecond I got the dodge.
I was very, very disappointed though by Crest of the Beast.
Yeah,
It's not very good.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said in my post earlier about my Silksong experience, I don't have. I did not use Crest of the Beast very much because I could not get it to click with me. It is apparently the best DPS in the game if you can
I
click
can
with
believe
it.
that, but
Yeah,
the downstrike.
Well, the crappy, non-intuitive thing that doesn't feel good to use almost always turns out to be the best DPS in the game.
yeah,
In every game.
Yeah.
yeah. It's too out of the way for speedrunners to get though, and it's just too clunky for casual players to use. So it really is. You're gonna, if you love it, cool. If not, it's not gonna be for everybody. Everybody and their mother is crying about the boss that guards it, though.
He's annoying, but that's it.
Seen so many people just in full crybaby mode over that crap.
Yeah, it's like, what ad is he going to summon? Because that will determine how you move.
Yeah, it's like what astounded me is none of them clicked that you can just let him kill his own ads.
Yeah, when he's doing the ground pound, you just let him come towards the ads. He will probably smash them.
Yeah,
Most bosses will smash their own ads.
He will squish all of them.
Yes.
Hardly civil.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't help that he's the most generic looking thing.
It's just basically a flying pill bug thingy.
Yeah.
There's really nothing to it. Well, the King Skull bug, whatever it's called, I forget, was probably the worst boss so far I fought.
The king what now? Oh, the Skull Tyrant or whatever.
Skull Tyrant, yeah.
Yeah, you should go sit
Because it has
on a bench.
3 moves, and that's all it ever does. They never vary.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a baby quest objective. Don't worry, there's a surprise involving that quest later.
Fun.
That makes that boss make more sense.
Yeah. Hollow Knight, the first one, actually kind of had the habit of doing that. It's like, yeah, you did this thing. You all seemed very happy and nice and everything. And okay, why is everybody dead when I come back? So I will be very disappointed if Silksong does not have unforeseen consequences pop up quite a bit.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the proper end of Act 1 boss, the one you're supposed to do if you're taking the not dumb path.
Right.
The area you're in right now is the area I started and took all the way to Act 2.
Right.
If you keep going, and you've got all the movement upgrades before that point, you can go all the way to Act 2 from there and skip the boss in the Blasted Steps, which is where it should be pointing you about right now.
Yeah, I've had a few occasions where I've just kind of gone exploring and didn't have a map and got thoroughly lost.
Yeah.
Which is really fun in this game, by the way.
Yeah, I do love just getting lost. If you get super lost, in multiple, very obviously wrong ways throughout the next several zones that thing can chain into, and somehow solve the puzzle of the miss, you will find yourself in Act 2 eventually, after a secret
Surely.
boss fight.
But yeah, I'm trying to avoid any maps or spoilers or anything like that because exploration is kind of half the point of these games anyway.
Yeah, and you should be able to
Lightning
find...
Horse had a lot of HP.
Yeah, you're supposed to use lunar reactions on him to kill him faster, and we are also two supports trying to kill it. And my
Two supports with with it is impossible to select two supports with less synergy.
yeah, and I also have no gear.
You're a naked goat thing.
I'm a deer.
I mean, I've got gear, but remember, Shalona builds defense, so
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to do. I prance around things.
you're supposed to be sort of like mystical and stuff at them.
No, I just throw deer at them.
I mean, talk about a character who, like, the design brief just says childbearing body.
And deer.
He does
Well,
have
yeah.
huge tracts of land.
Yeah, she is the most...
the widest hips of any character I've seen in this game.
Hang on, where's Zelonin?
I would think their mesh would work at that width, but apparently it does.
So Zelonin is not unstacked here. She has ample assets. Lama says, get on my level.
Yeah.
By a factor of 2 in the bus department, and a factor of about times 1.25 in the hip department.
Yeah. So, while on the topic of waifus, I played the first hour of Wuthering Waves.
Oh, you really did, huh?
If you understand what's going on, please tell me.
I don't think anybody speaks that language.
No, I don't.
I don't think anybody speaks that language in the Chinese either. So,
so yeah, it's like, okay, you wake up, you're possibly sent by the gods, I guess. And then there's these bad guys who pop out of rifts, and that's it so far. And for some reason you can eat them. I don't know why. I don't think anyone. That's probably never going to be properly explained.
well, it's made very obvious later on in the story to the small amount of progress that I've made that there is an explanation. It's just that nobody still alive really remembers what it is.
Oh, right.
Like, the gist that you find out very early on is that you are significantly older than the entire rest of the cast, but you don't have any memories of it.
So, a few things. First, I really like the combat. It's basically, the whole game is basically Genshin meets ZZZ in a lot of ways.
It's a lot looser than ZZZ. The dodge timings are extremely forgiving, roughly on the level of Genshin's, but it's easier to understand intuitively when you are dodging and when you are not, compared to Genshin.
Yeah, Genshin just seems to be like, maybe not. I'll see how I feel.
There's just insert an invulnerability frame here and one there and one there, and this one looks exactly like there should be one, but we're just not going to put one in there so that you get burned by it all the time.
Yeah. That is how Genshin do. But yeah, Wuthering Waves, the combat is fun. It's simple, but it's fairly dynamic and it flows nicely. Voice acting.
I don't know about voice acting because I don't use the English version.
It was
was
Star Rail bad.
It's not even Star Rail bad. It's worse. Yes, they list a voice actor on the characters page, but almost certain is just AI generated.
Like,
either that or they're giving an incredibly robotic performance.
So I switched it to Japanese when I played for like the 3 hours I did, and I switched about 2 hours in because I couldn't take the English, and I noticed a similar problem with the Japanese, and that it feels like the voice actors were like given the script, were kind of doing like a okay, this is what the words say and sounded them out, so you got them in your mouth before you do a performance. And they took that as the cut.
Yep.
Well, this isn't really like anime studios, right? Like, the ADR is not going to know what they're doing, especially early on. They're just going to be, some sound engineer who's been told to tell people what to say.
Yeah, just that'll do. So yeah, like the thing is there's at least I can't remember the character's name now because it was the voice presentation annoyed me so much. But when she says a certain couple of different words, usually a name or proper nouns, she pronounces them in precisely the same way every single time, and it's really off-putting.
Don't know what you mean at all. Like, that description does not help me. Like,
Oh.
don't you normally pronounce things in the same way every time? Like, isn't that how you speak a
No.
language? I don't
No, you don't.
understand.
No, I mean exactly the same. Regardless of the context of the sentence around it, normally you shape your words, or one word will
What,
flow into the next, kind of.
you've gotten
Like
like an audio editor and you've clipped this word out and inserted it everywhere where it's needed.
it's more like, yeah. So instead of saying the word, like she's saying a sentence excitedly, and
But they
she'll
just
say it
pasted
one
it
way.
instead.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
just
they did
exactly the same.
maybe they did the whole set of takes and somebody face palmed like, you just pronounced that name wrong every single time. We can't go live with this. Just say
So
it
we're just going
once
to
and
doctor it in.
we'll engineer it in everywhere where you said it.
That would make honestly a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you say it once correctly, we'll just go back and fix it in post.
How many big glowing balls do I have?
Big
I
balls.
have 138.
Okay, you'll be fine by the time you make a decision on
What am I
pulling
doing
llama
here?
then. Oh, Fern is the other ichthyosaur or whatever.
Yes. I'm just going to sit on this thing though.
Were you trying to kill Fern?
Oh, no, I
Yes.
was looking for him, but I couldn't find him.
So yeah, I mean, I don't mind Wuthering Waves so far, but it's confusing.
I get the feeling it's probably not going to change. I've played a little bit further, and it does start to iron things out, but they do it a little bit at a time. And sometimes it feels like characters think you know things that you don't know.
Yep. I can believe that. It does like I said, I'm only about an hour in, so everything kind of moves at a breakneck pace right at the beginning. And nothing gets fully explained, at least straight away. But that's semi-normal for this sort of story, I suppose. That's going for
Yeah, I
a
mean,
long
although
boil.
at the start they think you're just a traveler who got bonked on the head and your memory's going to come back any second.
Yeah.
Hang on, Fern, I'm going to become super useless.
Oh no, what are you doing?
The other new character, the one that doesn't work if the entire party isn't Dendro and Hydro.
Ah. Alright, now. Probably actually try and figure this puzzle out, shouldn't I? So yeah, that's that. What else did I do this week? Not a whole lot beyond that because it was, the third Drunk Cowboy event. And so thankfully I am done with the major Drunk Cowboy events now. Thank goodness. So, try to stretch. I don't think I've got anything else really to talk about. I did start on one anime, but I'm not sure what to think of it yet because it is a Katakawa isekai anime, which means it is trash.
It means you've seen it before 5 times.
Possibly, yeah. It is Dungeon of Black Company, which starts off where basically a guy's, in order to be as lazy as possible, he's gone out and become incredibly successful. And just at the point where he's realized, yes, I am so successful, I can just slack off for the rest of my life. He gets isekai and ends up working in a post-fantasy world for an extremely exploitative mineral extraction company.
And the thing you're looking for is up here, I'm pretty sure.
So basically, like half the people commuting into your hometown.
Yeah, pretty much. So the first thing you realize about this character pretty early on is he's a piece of shit. To put
More
it
than
nice.
Kazuma.
More than Kazuma. He's not a lech, but oh, hang on, I'm stuck. Oop, there we go. Yeah, he's not a lech, but he's just incredibly selfish and greedy and gives zero tosses about anybody else. I'm only a couple of episodes in though, but I really got to feel sorry for this poor lizard man he drags along with him. He kind of becomes the scapegoat for just about every one of his schemes.
The thing you're looking for is up there.
Oh, that one up there. Boop. There it is.
I was standing on top of it forever and jumped down.
Yeah, I was only half paying attention.
The what you call it's also up there, I think.
Yeah. Go down. Go up.
I'm up here.
Yeah. Hang on, I gotta get the piece. There it is. Okay, puzzle done.
Oh, it's
So yeah, I'm gonna keep chipping away at that, but it just seems like it's incredibly stupid. And as far as Kadokawa goes, they have like a stable of just generic isekais, and then they have a bunch of them where the main character is just an unrepentant piece of shit. And you're just watching
I
it just
love
to watch them get their
Combatants
gut
Will
up.
Be Dispatched. That's like my favorite isekai. I don't even
There
know if it
is
counts as an isekai.
technically no, but it fits all the same boxes. And if there is any character who is to be the poster child of unrepentant piece of shit, it's probably Six.
I
I
think
should go
Six
back
is
to actually question.
incredibly entertaining, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yes. I should go back and actually watch the end of that and see if Six ever gets his own comeuppance.
I don't think he does. I've got a few light novels past the end of the anime, and he more or less gets worse. But yeah, I haven't seen any resolution. I think it is a story with an end to it. I just haven't got that many of the books. But they actually he does actually end up feeling some remorse at times, though usually not for very long, about his behavior,
Yeah.
because later on they managed to Shanghai the Demon King into being their lackey. The Demon King, well, I think that the actual Demon King isn't around anymore, and his daughter has inherited the role, and his daughter is sort of like a incredibly idealistic, incorruptible, pureness type character, who is exactly the sort of person that Six would love to take advantage of.
Yes.
But she's so competent and so nice that even Six kind of feels bad.
Only kind of.
Only kind of.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop him in any way from doing anything.
Because yeah, at the end of the day, he is just scum.
Glitch Fern. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incidentally, actually, there was a trailer for Isekai Quartet Season 3.
Who's being
That's coming
added
up.
to the stable this time?
Is it not Cautious Hero? I think has already been in there. It is. I'm gonna have to look it up actually.
Place bets now on whether or not Fern dies from fall damage, audience.
Let's see.
Man, the sort of the twist in Cautious Hero is rather depressing.
It is Eminence and Shadow.
Oh, that one's like an ultra straightforward harem show, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. I haven't actually watched it, but like the main character is so generic. That's why it didn't cotton to me as to what the anime was.
I know that it was really popular on the Twitter, which probably means it's retarded.
Not in a fun way.
Or Turbo Gunner Bait.
Could be that too.
You saw nothing?
Oh, did he die?
Yes.
Okay. I had money on you dying in that bet pool, by the way.
I'm just gonna go and suck some juice out of a statue.
I'm harvesting your not cryberry. I don't know if they're used for anything, but I'm harvesting them. It is good to see that the generic berry and the mint continue to grow everywhere in Tevat.
Yes. Do you need them for really a whole lot? No, but they're everywhere.
For making dye,
Yes.
for when you're doing things in your teapot. Which you really can't do because the item placement limit is far too low to do anything interesting.
Yes.
Oh.
So all of the good teapots online are all from hacked servers.
Yeah.
Just raise the limit a little bit, Hoyo. Just a little bit.
Convenience? No, can't do that. We gotta find a way to monetize it.
Well, yes, that's what they're doing with it. They've made that whole new game mode.
So yeah. Anyway, I'll leave my week at that because after that, everything is kind of boring.
We'll get to come back in when I talk about Skong anyway.
Get some scongs.
I really don't like that abbreviation, and I'm not really sure why.
Because it's dumb.
It got popular because it was dumb. It was started by.
Yeah.
It's not really dumb. It feels like an insult. That's the vibe
Maybe a
it's
little
got.
bit.
It grew out of the insanity of the wait. On like the Reddit and the areas where people were the hardcores were waiting on it the hardest and losing their minds.
Yes, before they ran out of copium.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I will say that YouTube's algorithm has been moronic, more so than usual lately, but at least it has been serving me up a constant stream of Sherma remixes. So I am grateful for that.
Oh, the show title today is not going to help that.
Oh no.
You're just going to transcribe the lyrics, are you?
Already done.
Tink. Everyone loves Sherma. He's so cute. I don't want anything bad to happen to Sherma.
Mine got a new hat. Found Sherman in the hot tub. Singing.
Yeah, I did the start of the hot tub before the show, and
Oh, not that hot tub. It's a hot tub in a much more hostile place.
Oh no.
Like, Sherma, you're playing with fire there.
I don't think he cares. Sherma seems completely oblivious to basically anything dangerous.
He is adorably retarded and innocent.
Yes. We have to protect this child from himself. Also, the developers of Expedition 33 put out a piece of art which mixed up their two games. So you had Sherma and everyone's favorite tub of lard kind of playing around together. That was cute.
Yeah, it was. I posted that before you sent it to me in the video games thread.
Yep.
Read our threads more, Fern.
Discord, it's so many false thingies. Yeah. I need to go through and actually clean out my Discord. I've got so many dead servers and things. Because everyone now, if you need support for a piece of software or a mod or anything like that, everyone has to have their own freaking Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I want to pick a fight with that thing.
Oh. I can not deer it.
No. Let's just not pick a fight with it. It's not going to accomplish anything.
I got a better idea. Hang on. It's something that
Oh no,
absolutely
Aristo's having an idea.
it's something that absolutely doesn't work.
And you picked a fight with the giant goat. Why would you do this?
Don't worry, my character can accomplish absolutely nothing.
At least I can crystallize off of this. There's more synergy than the last combo.
That's good, because I can't do anything.
Of course, my damage is now reduced because we can heal now instead of...
But what if I lose all 74,000 of my HP?
Get up. I've got to figure out this puzzle. I'm stuck in a hole.
We're fighting a goat.
Fight the goat.
It's a large, angry goat.
Murdered the goat. Llama's weapon needs those, by the way.
Fabulous.
They're not nearly as bad when you're not trying to kill it with characters that can't do damage. There is, however, a Dendro one that is completely immune to Dendro damage if you're running around with the Llama team.
Yeah, I have scratched the surface of Nodcry, but like the one I ran into was a cryo one, and I had the Skirk team out.
Yeah, I bet that didn't
It
work.
took quite a while. It was not good. Just like, Farina, this is all you.
Yeah, I'm sitting there smacking the Dendro one with Nailu and her hydro damage. We were there for a while.
Solve the puzzle. Alright, so Vol, what has your week been doing?
Let's see. Starting at the top. Blue Archive, this week's event is a rerun of the Problem Solver 68 Opera House event, which is very silly because it involves those guys. But it's always entertaining seeing Aru in her element, attempting to be hard-boiled in all situations. But yeah, it's a very short run event because they're still in catch-up mode, so it's going to run for like 6 days or something, which is not nearly enough to farm up everything, in my opinion, unless you're going to do refreshes. So yeah, I guess I'm just going to do a minimum clear on that one. They still trying to catch up, but yeah. So there's not much else to say about that because it is joint firing drill week again, which I hate. So just ignoring that. Next on the list is, we'll go next to Wuthering Waves. I played a little bit more of Wuthering Waves. I've sort of gotten, I don't know how the chapters are divided up or the release schedule is divided up, but I've gotten to the end of what feels like a major arc, or it's sort of like the sort of the end of Jinsei's arc. So, yeah, it's the story still doesn't make much sense. There's like particular individuals who should be in the know who refer to the rover as Lady Arbiter and seem to know her, but
Okay.
nobody bothers to explain anything. They just say, "Yeah, nah, ask me later," and then they bugger off.
I'm here
yeah.
with no memories and no idea what I'm doing, and I'm very confused. You have the answers. Gimme.
Yeah, nah, they didn't seem that interested. So I went skiing instead.
As you do.
That is literally what happened. But yeah, so that particular boss fight leading up to that point, is incredibly obnoxious. It feels like it's basically, it would not quite be correct to compare it to Storm Terror's Lair, because Storm Terror's Lair is sort of like one step away from being a scripted fight, but it's not. Basically, it's incredibly obnoxious because the boss sometimes decides to spend about as much time engaging with you as Kushala Daora does.
Oh, not at all.
And so you just end up sort of kind of flailing instead of constructively fighting your opponent. And so I actually died my first attempt in the story mode version of it, because every time I got close to it, it would just fly away, and then eventually it just king hit me and it was over. So I'm not sure what I was supposed to do. And then the second attempt, it was like a squash fight. I went up to it and I whomped it immediately. So I don't know if they reduced the difficulty or what, like, or whether it was just that the boss stood still and it was always going to be a squash fight. I just got unlucky with its move selection the first time. I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, it was very strange. I'm not really sure what's going on there. And frankly, I was glad to get the hell out of that zone for a while, because that zone is unbelievably ruthless. Everything there is like a world level higher than you. So if you are incredibly under-equipped like me, you just get teabagged by all and sundry. Or every fight against a slightly larger than average mob turns into a mini boss fight, because everything can whomp you for like a third of your health, and you are cherry tapping it to death. So it was quite frustrating. And I got out of there. I probably won't re-engage with that zone until I've at least got gear on my characters, because everybody's still sort of like rocking the +0 relics, as it were. Because of the relic farming system equivalent is largely based around hunting echoes. So going around bullying monsters that you want the echoes for and hoping that one of them gets some stats that you want to try and develop. Which is an interesting way of doing it, but it means that I don't really have any decent ones. The quality of the drops that you get is sort of dictated by the amount of your Pokedex you've filled out. So until you have like encountered a lot of different echoes, your odds of getting ones that are actually worth using are quite bad. I'm sort of just cresting the point where high rarity ones start dropping. At a rate of like 50%. The base rate for echo drops is 20%. So 1 in 5 mobs you kill will drop an echo. And then the rarity percent is determined by your database level. So I'm currently at the level where about 50% of them will be gold and the other 50% will be purple. So it's sort of like I'm at the point where you can reasonably hope to start farming, and you kind of haven't got much choice, because most of the rest of your Pokedex will be filled out by getting gold rarity ones, and so you're going to have to poke at them. Once you get to like level 21 or 22 or something on the database, which is quite far away from where I am, I think I'm like level 17 or something like that. In the later levels, of course, take a lot longer to level up. You will pretty muchly always be getting gold ones when you get them, and you won't need to worry about purple ones glutting up your inventory anymore. But yeah, and then it'll just be down to fishing for the right stats. Though it seems like there are some various ways that you can tune the particulars of which stats you get as well, to some extent. Not completely, but to some extent. Yeah, so yeah, the story has not really bothered to explain all that much, as far as I can tell. It's mostly concerning the city and the region where you start. It's of primary concern to them rather than to you, and of course to Jinsei, the magistrate. And the story is essentially about her. It's pretty much her story arc. What else did I do in there? I did a couple of the character stories. I think I've done most of the available ones now, apart from Chang Li's, who's just unlocked. Chang Li is a slightly more benevolent version of Yae Miko. She's got the same sort of cheeky, not bothering to tell you what you think you need to know type of attitude. But I've done the other ones, and most of them weren't that interesting. But Encores was a real tearjerker. Like it's designed to just yank on the heartstrings, just to see you get upset. Basically, it's not upsetting in the conventional sense. I guess it's touching, I suppose. But yeah, it's sort of head and shoulders above the rest in terms of the amount of emotion that the story is bringing to bear. The other ones are just sort of like things that happened, and they kind of leave you cold for the most part. Like there's still character depth in there, but it's not emotionally manipulative the way the Encore story is. But yeah, I still enjoyed doing it, and it was kind of it's sort of hard to tell what's real and what's not in that story, because a lot of it takes place in the sort of the liminal space of the sonorosphere, which is a phenomenon in the Wuthering Waves setting, which is really, really poorly explained. And by that, don't necessarily just mean it's poorly explained by the narration. I mean the people in the world know that it is a thing, but they don't really understand all that much about it. Just they know that it happens sometimes. And
Right.
they every time somebody is inside one, they'll collect what data they can to return to university to study it, because they don't know what the hell is going on. But yeah, it's sort of like a mental space type of thing. You can think of it as being kind of like palaces in Persona 5, I guess. It's a sort of a person's inner world.
All right.
But except it doesn't just happen to bad people. But yeah, they you don't see the inside of them proper all that often, but it's sort of implied that a lot of what's happening in, oh my goodness, the animations are so glitched. Like Aristotle was just sort of striking a dramatic deer pose and just sliding along the ground in that fixed pose, rather than galloping.
Prancing.
There was no prancing was taking place. You were like a statue that was just sort of sliding along the ground. But
doing the meadow slide.
But yeah, so it was quite an enjoyable story. It was a terrible day for rain. Yeah. So what else did I do? We'll leave that one there for now. I haven't had much chance to engage with the new Genshin content. I just haven't really had the time. I did a cheeky 10 pull. I think I've done a couple of 10 pulls since the patch drop, just to soothe the urge to pull. And because I'm sort of ambivalent at this point as to how successful the pulls are, but Chi-Chi is always there for you. Know what I mean?
Yep.
It's always Chi-Chi.
I think Chi-Chi is the only 5-star standard character I don't own. But that's okay. We got Daya to make up for it.
Again. You sure do seem to like Daya.
She certainly
likes you anyway.
Yeah, Daya certainly seems to like me.
But yeah, I haven't decided whether or not I'll pull Lauma yet. Basically, whether or not I pull Lauma will be dictated in large part by whether I decide to go in for Nefa or not. Which is like, it's something I'm toying with. She seems like an interesting character, though I can't say I've had a lot of contact with her yet. But she's sort of like the flip side to Nailu Bloom, where the Nailu Bloom approach is to make a whole bunch of enormous blooms and then try not to die.
And oh boy, do you die! Even with the nerf.
In Nefa's case, she converts all of the blooms into fuel for her own attacks, which she does directly. So she basically treats blooms as a resource to do damage and to supercharge her ultimate. So you don't get bloom pops out of Nefa. So if Nefa is in the team, then Nailu will cease to function because there's no blooms to amplify anymore. Well, that's not strictly true because I don't think Nefa constitutively converts blooms. I think she does it anytime like her skill is running or something like that. Anytime she's in slither mode or something like that, since she's a snaky themed character. But yeah, I haven't had a huge chance to engage with it. Yehuda has been an extremely entertaining character though, to the extent that I've seen her. I kind of feel bad for her. Everything seems to not go the way she wants.
So she was the new introduced character, like just introduced in the last part of the main story I did.
Right.
So have you finished the section of the story where she's first introduced?
Yes, I must have done because I know about her and I've seen her do her characteristic thing where the entire scene goes grayscale and it goes into her internal monologue.
Oh no.
Yeah, they bust out their camera workshops a lot for Joe Yehuda.
I was totally uninterested in her originally, but then she won me over extremely quickly.
She has
she is the obvious butt monkey of the upcoming situation.
Yehuda, you're fired. What?
I mean, I admire the hustle, I guess. It's like, Nefa doesn't want to be politically involved, so she fires the employee who's involved and says, I'll rehire you when you're no longer involved.
There's a certain logic in that. I don't know if it's good or bad, but there's a logic.
So, what does bear comment is Dory's introduction in the Japanese, which is something else. My goodness. I have never heard such scenery chewing in all my life. Like, this is like Lygus would take a bow. Ian Lygus would take a bow at hearing this scenery chewing from Dory's JP voice actress. It is something else. My goodness. Like, the lip flaps totally break down. The animation, all of the animation in the scene for the talking will finish, and the JP voice actress will continue for like 30 seconds longer than the scene. Because of the amount of scenery chewing taking place. It's quite incredible to watch.
It was not that chewy in the English.
Like, somebody must have posted it on YouTube. It's worth taking a look because it's quite extra, as the kids say. It's been taken to a ridiculous new extreme. Like, Dory was always pretty scenery chewy in the Japanese voice track, but this is a whole new level. A whole new level. But yeah, anyway, whether I pull for Lauma in the end pretty much depends on whether I decide to go for Nefa, because I'm not interested in building the Nailu Bloom team or, some conventional inferior Bloom team. So yeah, we'll have to see how I feel about it as I make more progress through the story. Whether I feel like going in on this, because I mean, there's been a whole bunch of rumors about banner deployment orders which are conflicting going around. So I think that there's definitely a bunch of people who are just making shit up have been injected into the discussion. So there's no way of determining what's likely or what's unlikely now. So future planning has become quite difficult. The quality of leaks across all of the Hoyo games has taken a nosedive in the past couple weeks. Like, there have been a lot of stuff that is like, the Hoyo game will make an announcement and there was never a single leak about this. Not even one, and everybody's poleaxed to hear about it. Or they will do an official announcement and it'll be like strictly contradictory to the most recent allegedly highest reliability leaks. Like, I think that it's just that so many people have decided that supplying Hoyo game leaks are the way to free clout, that now the atmosphere is just completely poisoned by fake leaks.
Yeah.
Which is an advantage in its own way.
Yeah,
because it means
if
that
everyone's leaking
nobody.
random stuff, you don't know what's going to be true.
Yeah, because I mean that the clout that you can farm out of that's going to take a nosedive as more people join the attempts to farming clout, which hopefully will mean that the people who on patch launch day immediately spew the entire plot contents across Twitter will take a dive as well.
Yeah,
I don't understand why people like to do the Snape kills Dumbledore thing so much, but they sure do.
I just like to prance around the fields with Lauma. I think it's fun. His prime running around Ironforge ability she got here.
I thought that the Jane Doe thing was a bit oblique, but not entirely unclever as far as localization went.
It should probably had some
Since she's a deer.
Yeah, she probably had some untranslatable nickname, and they just did the best they could.
Well, she's just in the JP voice track. She's just called Deer Woman, and then later Dear Big Sister.
Yeah, she goes from Jane Doe to Lauma Doe.
But yeah. Anyway, don't think that there's a great deal more to say about Genshin until I have a chance to get into it a bit more. There's a whole pile of event stuff just rotting on my list, stuff to do. I haven't even claimed my free 5-star yet. There's not really any reason for me to put it off, but I sure am putting it off. Yeah, I need to do Spiral Abyss for the cycle as well. I haven't done that yet. And if I'm going to get Lauma, I'll have to kill Radiant Moonfly like 1,000,000 times as well. Groan.
At least he drops one of his 2 elements on element.
It makes a nice change, really. But yeah.
And he's not too bad if you have a Kokomi.
We'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna solve all problems with Skirk is pretty much the approach to everything at the moment.
I was stubbornly trying to use the Lauma team to farm him while Lauma was still like level 40.
Does Dendro work on it at least?
It does. The
It's
quirk
not
with
like Dendro Hypostasis where it doesn't do anything.
the problem with him was he has a mechanic that says you need to heal the party back to full HP. And my Nailu has 78,000 HP with 2 Hydras on the team.
Oh my.
Well, I mean, she's going to need it to survive. She's going to be doing as much damage to herself as she is to the enemy. But, yeah, anyway, I think I'll probably leave Genshin there because I don't have much else to say about it. ZZZ, maybe I'll wait for Ari to talk about ZZZ.
Yeah, this morning, this afternoon was second half of part 1 of Genshin, and this morning was all ZZZ catch up. So I'll have a lot to talk about there.
I would basically I'll wait for Ari to give his comments because it's fresher in his mind than it is in mine, and it'll probably jog my memory as he talks about it. Since for me it was a week ago, but I remember thinking that it was basically not a main story and a character story. It was 2 main stories, but that the character story was better than the main story. In terms of illustrating something of actual merit in terms of character description and in terms of accomplishing a lot of the things that I felt like the main story didn't accomplish the way I wanted. Because I feel like the main story had 2 major failings. When I say major failings, I mean that in the relative sense. I don't mean they actually crippled the story because I still thought the story was excellent, but it fell down in 2 locations. And number 1, it didn't properly communicate the bond between the squad as a whole because it was overly focused on one individual character and sidelined 2 other individual characters who should have been more involved, and the Seed story didn't do that. Seed story involved everybody, at least to some extent. And the second thing was it did nothing to advance the main plot of any consequence, and even Seed's story managed to accomplish that better than the main story did. So those were the two things that I think Seeds was. Seeds story actually had a slightly less impact on me than it would have otherwise. And I suppose the easiest way to summarize why was because I just come out of doing Encore's character story, which was a tearjerker of similar magnitude. So I was like, well, I mean, I've already been standing in the rain all day, type of thing. So I don't really have much else to give at this point.
So that we're not ping ponging on topics, we can just insert the ZZZ talk here if you want. Stop from bouncing back and forth. You want to do that?
Do you think you want to dump most of your time into Silksong?
Yeah, because there's a lot more to talk about in the commentary with that. So we can do the ZZZ talk here since it's technically follow up from last week when I was not playing it.
You start a spiel so that I can go and empty my bladder.
Right. So because the progress on the main story is of so little consequence to me, I'm mostly here for how the characters act and do stuff. The main story not being ignored is important, but I honestly don't care if it advances that much. I thought the main story was great the whole way through. Was the twist at the end seeable? You know, if you're paying attention, yeah, probably. And I definitely keyed to it pretty fast, but it didn't take away any of the impact from it at the end. And as for the characters not being as involved with it, I can understand that complaint. But at the same time, given the runtime they were working with, to make that ending really hit home and stick that landing, they needed to give as much screen time to Magus and Orphe as they did. And given that context, I don't mind at all. And I thought the story was incredibly well done for telling what it wanted to tell for Orphe's
really the
problem.
The problem is I didn't give Orphe any screen time to speak of.
Oh, Orphe.
Like she gets one little monologue at the end, and that's her entire involvement in a story that is bolted to her backside.
Well, yes. So Magus and Orphe, for those that don't know, Magus is literally attached to Orphe. And the main story...
Orphe is essentially a biological support system to keep a combat veteran on the field.
Yeah. Who drinks nitro fuel-based oil or something.
No, who is not supposed to drink nitro fuel, but does anyway.
Yeah, Seed gets onto her for it. Yeah, so Orphe doesn't really get to shine, has her own character bit aside from an aside that sticks more of herself when Magus is asleep briefly, and
I'm
at the
really
very
hoping
end,
that they give her a character story later. I don't know if
yeah,
they will.
I
because it seems to me like she's far riper for an identity crisis than most of the other characters in the story.
Yeah, that's the other.
Remember, she exists for somebody else's sake, not for her own.
Yeah, they have they could set up a character story fairly well if they wanted to with that. They sometimes intertwine them with events and stuff. But yeah, I'm not until her character is released and we figure out if a character story is coming or not. It didn't really bother me because I just kind of thought the chance was fairly high she would get one with her character release.
The other thing I want to mention is that and this is not like you'll see what I mean. Basically, because of Hoyo's like characteristic sloppiness, and this is a sloppiness that is currently the worst in HSR, but it's visible in all the Hoyo games. The gap between NPC design and character design is really wide, right? Everybody knows this. ZZZ's pretty close. Genshin's getting closer. HSR is still in the doldrums. And there aren't any NPCs in Honkai Impact. But I foresaw the twist 2 patches ago. And the reason for that is that the antagonist has a combat rigged model, but doesn't have character level design, meaning that she's going to appear on the field.
Yeah, I twigged that she would probably appear on field, but I weren't sure whether they were going to commit to the twist or not. So I just didn't commit my brain one way or the other, but you can tell real quick in this patch. Like, it doesn't take an hour into the story before she goes off to not feel well in town.
This is graphic design intruding on storytelling because of a general atmosphere of sloppiness that they have been able to get away with. And I think that this should probably be a wake-up call that they need to start closing that gap. And Genshin has been aggressively starting to do that. Like, if you look at the Nodecry NPC models, they're leagues ahead of Mondstadt. Leagues ahead of Fontaine.
Yeah. So part of the reason that well, the main boss fight does not use her character model. The follow-up boss fight at the end does.
But you
But
can see the rigging on her model, though. That's the thing, because there's certain design cues that you put on a model that's going to be used for combat, and she's riddled with them. Like, you knew she was going to be a god. There were some people who were hoping she would be playable, but she doesn't have the design for that. So, but she does have combat rigging on her model.
yeah. But yeah, it was I deliberately chose not to think too hard about where they were going to go with her, because what's a good way to put this? When you look at our green haired vixen, you can tell that she clearly has a higher quality model, but that could just be something like it reminded me very much of the like the dude that you buy stuff from with the currency from Muy Bien Temple. Um, what you call it? The Robo dude. Like he has a similar vibe with his animation and character model.
He doesn't have any combat cues designed into his character at all.
No, but he got
Like there's something about visual design, right? Like this is not just about detail on the model. There are certain things that you add to a character's design at the concepting stage, like the way their clothing is designed and all that, so that it won't clip, and that type of thing.
yeah.
Like it's very distinctive. It's why people dab on Hoyo for having so many characters that have similar outfits. As well, you actually have to. If you can make the outfit as froofy as you want, but it's going to clip horribly. So you've got certain guardrails that you've got to stay within in order to keep verisimilitude intact, so people aren't constantly passing through the fabric of their own clothing, and so that they aren't accidentally showing naked Barbie doll models every time they take the wrong sort of pose. Which is how you can tell a character is going to be used for combat.
Or you just take the llama approach and not give them any clothes.
That's also technically an option.
But yeah, I understand kind of what you mean. But I was not really twigging that hard to it. That's not where my
Well, I
tism
spend
is.
a lot of time. I'd spend a lot of time sort of analyzing the design of the characters and that sort of thing. Like, because I like the way Hoyo designs characters generally, which is in strict contradistinction to what most people will tell you. Most people tell you Hoyo can't design a character at all, and it's true that they use a lot of recycled design elements, but there's a certain amount of interesting expression and things you can learn about it. What the artist wants to say about a character simply by looking at their design carefully.
Yeah, I'm looking at a deer right now, so it's
Well, I mean, there are certain things that they want you to look at in on Lauma, and the cinematography from the
two of
very
them, in
start of
fact.
Nodcry will tell you exactly what those things are.
Two of
And
them.
they are. There is one at the base of the spine, and one sort of like in the top third of the spine.
Yes, if you separate them into individual extensions from the torso, it's 4. But
Lauma does not need to aura farm because she dominates the frame.
part of her does anyway. But yeah, I kind of get where you're going with it. I don't see any kind of posts, and it ain't my particular tism to obsess over a character's design. A lot of people will talk to me about how they think something's over designed or under designed, and that's just not something my brain twigs to.
I think that's also something that's like people don't want to admit. It's actually just a matter of taste.
Yeah, it's like
over design is a concept from engineering that has been forcibly imported to art where it doesn't belong.
yeah, like my brain generally stops at cute, adorable. You has a penis.
No, it doesn't. You assess also whether or not they're blonde.
That's true, but that just is bonus cute points. So sometimes hot falls into it too, but yeah, I do get what you mean. But as far as the character itself goes, I thought they handled everything with with their character as well as they reasonably could have. Like I couldn't
I
ask
think
them to do it better.
I think it was a very interesting exploration of something that very few games in the genre bother to explore. That
Yeah.
sort of like because because the thing is, it sticks out because of how badly done it is. Because it's done regularly, it's just not explored properly. Like you could say that Sasuke's arc in Naruto is a similar exploration of sort of like what happens if you spend a long time seething, basically. But
Yeah.
that it's done in such sloppiness and imprecision without any sense of nuance that it's not. It has basically no impact whatsoever.
I think it did a
But
particularly good job hammering home the point that she's aware by the end of it, and was not very hard to convince that she's in over her head and she's gone off the deep end, but she's just gone too far now, and can't bear to stop.
now this is a narrative element that I mean I think it works and I think it's very real, but I think that people having that self-awareness is not very realistic, and that should be obvious after the events of the past week. Like it's an interesting exploration. I just don't think it's very realistic, and it doesn't. It's not necessarily a requirement for it to be realistic.
No,
But
but
I hate the idea that there's going to be like a generation that will grow up on stories like this and use it as an excuse for psychopathic behavior,
yeah,
because people do take their cues from art. And this is like sometimes you see a story element in a story that may or may not be popular, but you just think to yourself, oh man, I hope that this doesn't become a normal way of thinking.
yeah. I I I just really liked everything they did with her character, showing her how she went off the deep end and made it understandable, but made it so even she was aware this isn't okay. She just can't stop because she's gone too far.
Yeah, I was sort of like I wasn't sure how to feel about it because it sort of like she seemed to. I feel like there was like a very short scene that was missing, which was to bridge the gap between her being, you know, upholding the masquerade perfectly to doesn't actually care about appearances anymore at all. And I felt like that was not quite. It was not quite connected. It was like almost touching, but not quite.
You you could jam something like then, like when she was driving away on the boat, I guess. Either
No, no, I'm
do
talking
it as
about
a
way before
flash.
that. Way before that, it would have to happen. Like when the crisis happens, and the transition is conducted by way of her talking over the radio to Obol Squad when they are supposed to be going to rescue people, and it's very clear that bad information has been fed into the system. And it's basically the masquerade has dropped at that point, and there's no inciting incident for it. That you just don't see any of that. It just sort of it goes from oh well this is not able to be discerned at all that there's anything wrong with her by the people around her, all of the way over to everybody is now concerned that she's doing something insane, and there's no middle ground there. She just sort of disappears and then reappears as an enemy. Now I'm saying all of this. This is like the most minuscule of conceivable criticisms, right?
Hmm.
I'm not saying this makes it a bad story, but it did feel a little bit jarring that they didn't smooth that transition. But I do wonder if it would have just seemed melodramatic if they did.
Yeah, because I think their clear goal in this was to stick the landing at the very end, and they might have not have done all the flips in the air quite as 10 out of 10 as some people would like, but for me they were fine. I didn't notice too much wrong with them while they were in transit. Most of it would come in
But like,
retrospect.
if you're going to compare it to like every other exploration of this concept, this is in the S tier.
Yeah.
compared to like your typical anime or video game that is trying to do the same plot line.
Yeah, and I really really enjoyed the ending. They managed to do one of the most important parts of stories like this and stick the landing with Orphe and Magus having their incredibly dumb and cheesy 1v1 moment with their superior. And I was all for that. That's what I play video games for, is dumb cheesy crap like that. I was all in on this. I thought the boss fight was really good. They gave you a trial Orphe to use, and Orphe's not even out yet, so you don't, as far as I'm aware, you don't even have the option to pick your own. Probably won't. And she's scaled at an appropriate level where you can, with a character you're definitely unfamiliar with at this point if you play it at release, and you've got to do the 1v1 with Orphe and Magus, and it felt really really good despite her kit not being the most on field.
Because they managed to commute, well, because it's not an on-field kit. I think that's why it works, because that means that what you're doing is going to feel sloppy and desperate, because it's not what she's for.
Yeah.
So the game, this is one of those times where the gameplay, which is unconnected otherwise to the story, really serves the story well, because it's really not the way Orphe is supposed to be used. Like, Orphe is supposed to be used as part of a team.
Yeah.
And she's not being used as part of a team. So everything just feels desperate and wrong, which is what it's supposed to feel like.
Yeah, and the ending with Magus protecting Orphe and our girlfriend, showing that calling back to, what was it, chapter 2.0, when the Denny gun was first introduced
It was part of Yuzuha's investigation.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, we had this Chekhov's gun that was brought back, and just to hammer home, she was well aware of how far off the deep end she was, and Magus puts an end to everything because she thinks that Orphe's life is in danger.
That was really a masterful stroke, because I had forgotten about the Denny gun entirely.
Yeah. So so I liked that entire ending. It bailed out that storyline at the very end the best way it could, just to usher it off. No hanging threads with the villain.
And they thankfully did not attempt to redeem her. Thank goodness.
No, because Orphe
Because
would
it would
try.
have gone straight. It would go straight into cornball territory.
Yeah, and Orphe, given her state of mind at the time, and probably most of the rest of Opal Squad would try. But Magus is just like, no. Well, Magus might have even tried at that point, but Orphe's life was more important. She didn't know it was a Denny gun.
I don't know. I think it would. You could have continued that story in an interesting way, but it would have been a very different story, because I don't think that Trigger would have gone for it. Because remember, she killed her malefactor in cold blood.
Yeah. So,
because it was a necessary thing to do.
Yeah.
The crimes were too great that had been committed, and so she put them down. So she wouldn't go for it, and then you would have had a different story where Obol Squadron is now divided over what the right course of action is.
Yeah.
And because Margus would definitely be conflicted about that as well. What really is the right thing to do? Because Margus, of course, holds her in very high esteem. So you could still continue the story that way, but I don't think that it would have been clean.
It would have eaten a lot of screen time to keep telling that. It
would have been another patch.
Yeah,
it would have been another patch.
If you want to keep that going, you would have to devote a whole nother patch of screen time to these characters, and with the character releases we got lined up, we do not have time for that. So they ended it as good as I possibly could think.
The next patch is going to be a bit lighter.
Yeah, well, this one was called, when I saw the title, I knew we were in for a big one with Do Not Go Gently Into That Good Night. You know somebody's going to die.
Well, that's another thing that I felt was a little bit underexplored, that confused me a few times in the course of the story, was, is Magus actually Magus or not?
I get the feeling are
we dealing with that situation where, oh well, if you perfectly copy somebody, are they actually that person or not?
I get the feeling if you asked any of the Obol Squad members, they would not be able to give you a concrete scientific answer on that. but they choose to treat her like the actual Magus because it's
Because like,
just
is
easier
she
that
like
way.
a synthetic AI who was designed to be the real Magus? You know, the legendary Sergeant Major they wanted to keep on the field, or is she actually like uploaded from somebody's meat brain?
Yeah, we do they have soul sucking machines that can move stuff into robots? We don't know.
I have no idea.
But yeah, I don't think anybody in Opal Squad would be able to give you a satisfactory scientific answer to
Because
that
it
either.
seems like the military in New Eridu did some pretty unethical shit.
Yeah, Magus's indignation becomes more and more hollow from the start as everything starts to break down. Where she's getting all uppity with Belle, like, "Oh, you just don't do things by the book." And Belle's
Well, I
like,
mean,
"Oh,
this is a combination of her trying to persuade herself that this is the way it should be, as well as her just being Magus, the mother hen, which I
mhm."
think is my favorite version of Magus. I love when she's being the mother hen.
Magus is the adorably retarded tiger mom who has no emotional control whatsoever, despite being a gun on a tail, and claiming
And
that
getting lectured for damaging the exosuit that Orpha uses to wield her
like,
by being too reckless all the time.
dragging poor Orphe around. I feel bad for Orphe. She's trying her best, and Magus is just like literally dragging her everywhere for their fights.
Right, so I do care about the meta arc of the story. I want the story to advance, and I feel like they really dropped the ball here because they didn't actually do anything. The information that you get at the end is like, oh well, so great. The only thing that was actually accomplished here was to reinforce the idea that the photograph that they have might just be not meaningful in any way because it could just be a miasma image. And it's like, well, I mean, from a story writing perspective, you know it's not going to be that way, but from a narrative development perspective, they are no better off than they were before. Now that in isolation is not a problem. The problem is that they have finished every patch since 2.0 with the exact same scenario where, oh, and we have learned nothing, which is like, if I hadn't heard it in every other patch, I probably wouldn't have been as annoyed as I was this time.
Yeah, they still have room to go with it, even with the patches that have gone so far. We now have multiple people that are have agreed to help Bell and Wise out with their little project.
But nobody has anything that's actually concrete information to bring to the table. It's just so frustrating because it's not, like I said, it's not just about the fact that they haven't got any information. It's the fact that they announce, well, at the end of this adventure, we've learned nothing at the end of every single one. And
Yeah,
that's really frustrating to me that they always end it the same way. Like, can't you give me something? Can't you give me like a couple of juicy morsels or something? Which is why I was relieved by Seeds one, because when they dropped that bomb at the end, oh, I was trained in the same place.
oh
Even if I can't remember anything right now, that means that there's actually that actually builds the world a bit. It stops the sort of creeping feeling a little bit that Bell and Wise are chosen ones, chosen twos. I don't know. And restores the idea that they were actually part of some community as opposed to just being like, you know, the magical golden children. Even if they were their teacher's favored students, that it wasn't just like, oh well, these two magic kids in isolation.
yeah, there could be all kinds of experimental chillins that are running around.
Who
That
apparently are all autistic.
oh boy, is Seed autistic. We're not talking a little autistic either. Girlfriend is on the spectrum so hard.
Which is probably why she thinks it's okay to wander around in bare feet all the time.
Yeah. That said, her story was probably the best character story they put in the game so far.
It was definitely the longest, and I was incredibly jelly because Fufu didn't get that treatment.
No, Fufu got to play with the actors. Did get to beat up a Tiger Man, but or did she even beat up the Tiger Man? I can't remember.
I don't know if he was a real Tiger Man in the end, was he?
I can't
I
remember.
can't. The story was very, very weird. It was very strange and sort of implies a whole bunch of supernatural elements that really aren't explored by the rest of the story.
Yeah. But yeah, Seed story, however, is an entire character study in this autistic little girl and how she
But
sees the world.
I didn't actually see it as that so much. What struck me about it was not really, oh well, this is an exploration of Seed's character, but more like it. I felt like it had a very impactful and effective portrayal of the sort of the oscillation that is intrinsic to accepting something, as opposed to, oh well, and then there's a crisis and then you're forced to accept reality, right? Because that's not how it goes, right? She seems to have accepted it and then hasn't accepted it, and then seems to have come to terms, and then something happens and she hasn't really come to terms, and she comes to terms a little bit more, and then something happens and she's back where she started. She's still holding on to false hope, and then this is how people actually deal with issues, right?
Yeah.
Is that they will oscillate about the point before they arrive there.
Yeah, it's like she had been naively protected, or she had been protected and left in her naive way of thinking on purpose by the rest of Obel Squad, but she had started to process it very slowly despite all that on her own. And then events that keep happening throughout her character story get her to have to finally face that daddy's dead.
Well, it's not just that though, right? It's that so many times through the story, she sells quite effectively the idea that she has already faced it. But then when something happens, it shows that no, she really hasn't dealt with it all the way. She has told herself that it's okay and put it to one side.
Yeah. And then
And so that's why I thought that it's like a very good portrayal of the way people actually act in those situations. Like, because it's like, how people often, when they deal with loss, they will seem to be okay. And then something will happen which shows that just under the surface, they hadn't really dealt with it at all.
yeah. One thing about Seed's story that sticks out more than anything else is the very ending of it, where when the robot's finger came down, I was so afraid they were going to pull key magic.
No, I knew that I knew that I was absolutely confident by that point that they wouldn't.
I was fairly confident they wouldn't, and then the finger came down. I'm like, no, please don't. And then it's like the rest of the arm comes down just through gravity. I'm like, oh okay. Whew. I thought
Yeah.
we were about to ruin something good here.
With Encore's character story, I was afraid they would use key magic, but they didn't in the end in that scenario. They came very, very close to it, but like I said, a lot of that story happens in a liminal space that isn't really 100% real. And so by the end of the story, all the key magic has been cleared off the stage. Purposeful metaphor in this case. But yeah, I was confident that they wouldn't do key magic because it would have completely invalidated the entire rest of the writing, and the writing was too competent for them to make a mistake at that point, I think.
Yeah, but it's very very good. I kind of don't want to spoil most of Seed's story for people because by getting really nitty gritty with it, because people really should just see that one for themselves. It's really good.
The voice actor for Seed after release was posting on Twitter, "I'm the one who made all you people cry."
She did a surprisingly good job in English from how her talking voice sounds.
Seed was just apocalyptically bad in the previews. Like I saw her in Japanese, and she was in Japanese. The voice acting is all very competent, but the actual delivery was a little bit stereotypical for the sort of like Cloud Cuckoo Land Psycho type of thing. Like she's just a little bit too perfect, I guess, in certain ways. But by the time you get to that final scene, and it all falls apart, then it pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, the English clearly did multiple takes for some of Seed's scenes to make sure she hit it right. And her voice tone in English gives off a natural autistic tone. I don't know what that says about the voice actress. But
I think that might be just a coincidence from the fact the voice actress is kind of mediocre, so it's going to be a little bit flat and disconnected a lot of the time.
but it just kind of works for Seed, and her breakdown moments were clearly had enough takes to get them right, especially the big breakdown one inside the second mission, I think. But yeah,
But yeah, it went on for way longer than I expected.
yeah,
I guess I'd been sort of like I'd been tricked by the heartbreaking disappointment that was the mediocre Fufu character story,
yeah, something
and
tell.
into thinking that it was going to be abbreviated.
Well, they had a week to recoup after making Fufu's story alongside the summer event, so and the main
I love
story.
Fufu so much. I'm so upset that she got so shortchanged.
Well, she's part of Muy Bien Temple, so she'll she'll at least get a lot of main story time, even if it's just cameos.
I like Fufu so much. I'm so rustled at so many of the decisions they made as far as character story, screen time, combat design. Like there are so many ways she could have been better. If her final combo hit was part of her basic kit instead of being part of one of the things you get in the I was going to call it simulated universe in Hollow Zero, it would have made her so much more fun because you would have the option to stay on field as opposed to being actively incentivized to get her crappy scaling off field ASAP.
Yeah, yeah,
But
she's
it's never going to get revisited. Mind you, they're already revisiting Sanby.
yeah, especially from the bit I've got. You get to demo Seed and Orphe a lot, and comparing Ambi to Seed, oh boy, we got some catching up to do.
I gotta say, I don't like Anby's mechanics. I'm not going to say anything complimentary about Anby's mechanics because they're incredibly bland. But Seed did not really jive with me all that well. I understand in concept, but I just ain't feeling it, Not the way I do with the characters that I really like playing. Like I really like playing Caesar, and I really like playing Alice, and I really like playing Yishin and Fufu. But I didn't have the same vibe out of playing Seed.
I think I would have a lot of fun with her in a hot swap team. The problem is,
I,
I
I think
would
that this is definitely one of those. I don't think it's actually a design thing in this case. I think it's just one of those people have different game feels that they like.
yeah, I would pull for her to get that option, but at the end of the day, Seed is still a feat people. She's still a feat people, and that's like a
She's not.
solid minus 20 points.
She's only at like A tier on the feet people chart though in terms of the amount of feet attention given because Wuthering Waves blew her out of the water when they released My goodness, the feet fixation is off the freaking charts.
Why are feat people?
I don't know why feet people.
Yeah.
Like at least I know that there are a lot of things to criticize, particularly right now about Star Rail, but at least the club of crazy fanatics in Star Rail attempted to get Clara shoes.
True. Unfortunately,
Their perverts are less bad. They are not focused on the feet.
I guess they're all locked into a mono archetype because they're only big feet people characters are both physical counter characters. But yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed both the main story tremendously for this ZZZ patch, and I think the character story might be the best they've ever done. It was enough to sell me on a character I had zero interest in, but not enough to sell my wallet on it because feet.
I was not quite so fond of the main story. Like I think I would put it at A plus tier, not S tier. Which is not to say that it's bad because A plus isn't bad. As somebody with an Asian parent, I'm here to tell you A pluses aren't bad. But the character story was just like some of the most masterful storytelling they've done, and in my mind, that's not just because they mechanically assembled it well, but because they actually explored something that was poignant and interesting, and resonant with most people who have been alive more than about 10 years.
And oh boy, did it unfortunately hit a bit harder because of this week.
Been a rough week.
I know a lot of people that are still in the denial part of Seed's journey there. I don't know why, because they did not know him personally. Don't know why they're that quite
Well,
vested.
he
But
was important to a lot of people. Like, I've heard a lot of reports from people like that. Like, my dad asked me if I'd heard about it.
yeah, that basically it stopped work on Thursday.
And my dad is not American. Like, we live in New Zealand. Like, people know about this guy that you don't expect to know about this guy.
Yeah, it happened at around 1:30 on Wednesday or Thursday here, and the phone calls just stopped for like a solid 2 hours.
You're normally ringing off the hook, aren't you?
On Wednesday is usually one of our busier days, so usually it's going off at least a couple times an hour. But there was a solid 2 hour break on a Wednesday, which is odd. It usually doesn't stop until about 4. And the opossum got a call from his wife who was upstairs cleaning the kitchen. She tells him what happened, and he turns on the TV in the other room at max volume on Fox News, talking about it.
Anyway, is there anything else about the ZZZ patch you want to cover in particular while we're still on it?
No, not particularly. Just I think that ZZZ is continuing to do exactly what I want it to.
I have to say that the other part, you know how they always have the two lobes of the character story. I feel like the other part was incredibly vestigial.
Gonna have to clarify what you mean by that.
You know, there's always two options on the character channel.
Oh, right. The event thing story. I think that's what you mean. Yeah.
The compatibility trials.
I totally forgot what those were.
Yeah, it's like, that's why I say it feels incredibly vestigial. It's like legs on a snake.
Yeah, it took me a second to remember those are a thing. But yeah, even if it was fairly decent in that section, it's going to be overshadowed by Seed's main story. So
well, it's not even that it was fairly decent; it was totally perfunctory. Like, this is there in order to keep it being there, not because it's useful in any way.
Yeah, it's here to meet a contractual obligation. Are you
Still
doing
with us, Fern?
No, Fern is gone.
Oh, no, I was muted. I just don't have anything to add to ZZZ.
So, okay.
I just wanted to make sure you're still alive and you hadn't fallen asleep or something.
Yeah, I know that was a long one. So, all right, that's all the ZZZ.
Right, so that's Genshin and ZZZ and Blue Arc I've covered. I still haven't covered HSR. HSR had a stream this week, so
Yes.
I'm going to cover that. I'm not hugely hopeful about it, but I'm also not hugely in the dumps about it either. I'm sort of, it's very wait and see. Where's my notes? Where did I find them? Here we go. So, as Oyo was wont to do, the week before the last week of the previous patch cycle, they do their stream. And I didn't watch it live because that would have involved being up until 1 a.m. before a work night, so I didn't really feel like doing that. So I watched it afterwards. So, version 3.6, Back to Earth and Evernight. I'm always a bit questioning their use of the word Earth, but I mean, I guess I don't have much choice in a lot of ways. The only reason that's really questionable is because that has particular meaning in the Honkai verse, because Earth is a place among many with particular attributes of its own. I'm wondering how many of those will actually come into play in Genshin, to be frank, because in Honkai Impact, the moon and the earth are very particular things with very particular traits. And there is something not the same, but analogous to the Type Moon universe. Like, the Type Moon universe has Type Moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
we don't talk about the Type
Type
Moon.
Earth and Type every other planet, etc.
Mm-hmm.
They all have a sort of a dominant archetypal power. There's something similar in the Honkai-verse, and the most significant one in Honkai Impact was on the moon. The archetype finality, which is the thing that eventually becomes the thing that Kiana has the power of at the very end when closing out the story in the final finale of part 1. That's basically the moon. The moon's archetype is finality, the most powerful archetype, most powerful authority, affecting the sphere that is the Earth's sphere. And each of the planets that have civilization have one of these. Like V, for instance, is associated with Venus, although Venus is sort of like, number one, they don't call it Venus because they live there. They're not Earthlings. But Venus is a dead planet that basically was subjugated by the Honkai, or at least so it seems. It's that's kind of the way it is. There's a whole bunch of minutia to it, but ultimately, I'm wondering if Genshin's going to draw on that at all, since the moon seems to be becoming dramatically important. So dramatically important that they have changed Genshin Impact's title card to reference the moon now. I don't know if you saw that when he was logging in. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, moons are important in the Honkai-verse. And the Earth's moon in particular was one of the most important factors in the story. So at any rate, getting back to where I was with the referral to Earth, perhaps we can consider it being used as a generic term for world, because I don't know what it said in the Chinese. Anyway, so the chapter is called Back to Earth and Evernight. So basically, without going into any of the story details they revealed, because I feel like they were particularly spoilerific this time, I'm using that term in a bit of a exaggerated way because it wasn't actual spoilers per se, but it did delve a bit further into story details than I think was strictly necessary. The gist being, okay, so at the end of 3.5, we got what we wanted more or less in the short term, and were able to basically initiate the Era Nova on our own terms rather than on Lygas's ones, and didn't immediately result in calamity. But we don't know what it did result in, because we didn't get to see that, because we faded to black. So basically the gist is that, okay, so that happened. They completed the Era Nova, and it didn't quite go as expected. That being because there are actually a number of different agendas in play right now. And interestingly, it seems like the cast so far, based on the trailers, and the trailers always lie for Honkai Star Rail. Like, you can't trust trailers at all. Based on the trailers, which isn't going to trust the trailers anyway, even though it's stupid, the M4S cast don't really have any role going forward. This seems to be basically focused on the competing agendas from outside, and March and Don Hung, the old crew, and what their investment is in this seems to be the gist of the story. So I'm interested to see where they go with that, what it actually looks like in reality, because trailers always lie. Anyway, moving on from the story, because I don't want to go into too much detail. So they did the introductions for the two new characters, 2 new 5 stars for this patch cycle. The first one being Evernight. Her kit's more or less the same as I'd expected coming out of beta, which is to say she's a Ice Remembrance character with jellyfishes called Evies, because March has no naming sense even when she's not March, I guess. So yeah, Evernight has jellyfishes called Evies, and basically her how do I say, she is designed to be a Memo Sprite team synergistic character. So basically she's designed for mono remembrance teams, which means that you're not going to put her with Aglaya. Aglaya's always been a bit of a weird outlier in their remembrance path, but even more so in this case, because her main supporting attribute, because you can use her in a number of different roles. Like you can use her as a main DPS if you want to. You can use her as a supporter if you want to. Her main role is to improve crit damage, and the amount that she improves crit damage is proportional to the number of emo sprites on the field. So you want to play her usually in a Castorus team, although you can play her as the main damage dealer and presumably supplement it later on with, I don't know, Sereni or someone who will probably also be Remembrance based on what we currently know. So basically, the Evies and Evernight herself, their damage output is dependent on the level at which Evernight has accumulated Memoria stacks, and which is her own special resource. And basically, this is accomplished. This is stacked every time their HP decreases for any reason. So obvious synergy with Hyacine and with Hyacine signature and with Castorus is obvious. But when they hit a critical threshold, the jellies will start to self-destruct and do bursts of damage. And when she uses her ultimate, she will basically do a nuke and then go into an enhanced state where all the jellies become very angry and red. That's basically the short version. So she's a damage support hybrid that is designed to slot into the slot that is currently being occupied by Tribby, so that every single team in the world doesn't have to fight over Tribby. Because currently that's the case. If you've got Tribby, everybody wants help from Tribby. Unless it's the Aglaia team, because the Aglaia team has no flexibility whatsoever.
We would take Tribby, but we don't have a spot for her.
So the other character, Permansatere, is going to be physical preservation. Basically, it's you nominate a character as the protected one, basically, I guess, and it will attach the dragon summon to that character, and then basically the dragon appears in the. It's not a memo sprite, but it appears in the action order like other summons do, and will automatically refresh the whole party's shields and dispel a stack of debuffs every time that it reaches the top of the action order, and it will gain the ability to do that as a follow-up attack instead of just in isolation, as a buff every time Permansatere has used the ult. So basically it's the shields, from what I've seen in the demonstration footage, are about half the size of the shields that Aventurine generates, but and like Aventurine, they seem to get refreshed by basically everything. But Permansatere also scales with attack rather than defense, so the base output is quite a bit higher in exchange. And of course has the dispel ability, which Aventurine's ability to dispel is lacking. So basically, this is the solution to the Aventurine problem is to give everybody an Aventurine, because Permansatere is going to be the free 5-star for the because we were promised one more this year. And it's going to be Permansatere. So yeah, everybody now has an Aventurine, and they mention at one point a new enemy, a new elite enemy that is probably going to appear as a boss at some point in Memory of Chaos, that is going to have abilities that basically encourage you very, very strongly to have shields on your team. Like you have to, it has abilities that require you to. It also has abilities that require you to pick a character to receive the damage. So you're going to want to dump that on someone who can take it, etc. But yeah, so yeah, that's where they're going with that. I still don't agree with the design logic of the Aventurine archetype, but you know, if they want to just render it a moot point by giving it to everybody rather than having Aventurine havers and Aventurine not havers, then they can give everybody a character who's does shielding, refreshes it constantly, it's stackable, and they have follow-up attacks. So I guess, okay, that's the way you want to play it. I don't see why anybody will ever pull for Aventurine again, but although I mean
They're
Aventurine does
probably
have
going
a
to be
lot of
balanced around it now, though.
yeah. I mean, it's going to be assumed that people have it for a while at least. That probably won't remain in the calculations forever because it's not assumed that everybody have other characters at this point. But yeah. So the banners for the next patch are in phase 1, Evernight and the Herter are the 5 stars. Everybody's salty that the Herter is back again after only having had a couple patches of a holiday. But I mean, Madame Herta is an inimitable beauty. Madame Herta is a peerless gem, etc., etc. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm always tempted every time Herta comes out. Maybe I should just roll for
Maybe you should.
Eidolons because
You-
Madame Herta.
You just spend all of your quartz.
I did. I've got no quartz. I'm pretty low. I'm going to be furiously farming up everything that I can get to try and pull Evernight for Castorus's team because my Tribby is currently serving on about 3 different teams at the moment. But yeah, I don't think that that's going to be on the cards this time to pull Eidolons for the Herta. But yeah, and the 4 stars, Mishig, Knife, and Shuyi. The light cones are to Evernight stars and Into the Unreachable Veil, the 2 5 stars relevant to the characters. The thing that a lot of people are excited about is the 4 stars for the side of the patch, which are Dreams Montage, After the Charmony Fall, and Dance 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 is on Rate Up. Dance 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 being the stealth 5 star light cone because it is so bonkers powerful. It's mostly bonkers powerful to people who are autistic speed tuners, since it's basically something that interacts primarily with action order, but it is definitely an unbelievably powerful light cone. The most powerful 4 star, and it's not close. So yeah, a lot of people are going to pull on that probably just to try and get more copies of Dance 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 because you basically can't have enough of them. Phase 2 is going to be Permansature and Anaxa. Again, back after a very short hiatus. The 4 stars are going to be Sushang Hanya Serval. The Lycones through Worlds Apart, Life Should Be Cast to Flames, Land as Choice Only, Silence Remains, Perfect Timing. Most of those are not of particular note. They're going to come out with an animated short for Dan Hung and a Myriad Celestia for March 7th, which is hopefully going to fill in something about their characters, especially March 7th, whose character is pretty much a blank slate at this point because she doesn't know anything and nobody seems to be able to find out anything. We'll see how that goes. Events that they previewed. First event is Nice Weather for Dromuses, as it's called, which is basically our baby Dromus raising event, where you've got a baby Dromus and you raise its stats, and it has tests and challenges and story events associated with the baby Dromus. Because Dromuses, they're actually very popular. But yeah, and it's going to this is going to be one of those stories that sort of takes place in M4S before everything went to pot. So everybody's still around to chat with you and interact with your baby Dromus, and in an Axis case, probably talk at great length about how wonderful Dromuses are.
Means
Next event,
be there.
Gone.
Means Hyacinth's going to run the event.
Hyacinth is definitely going to appear in the event because I've seen screenshots of it. So yeah,
there's adorable animals on Amphorius. Space Barbara is there.
Yep, without fail, she's always there. Second event just made me groan because it's Seal Slammers and Origami Bird Clash again. I wish they'd stop bringing this back because I've had enough. This, as usual, the re-release comes with some slight twists. So the Seal Slammers has now got an additional function where you add support seals attached to each of your on-field seals, which give additional effects. So additional strategizing is possible if you care about that with Seal Slammers. I don't. I'm had enough of Seal Slammers. Thanks so very much. I enjoyed it the first time round. I don't ever want to see it again. But unfortunately now I have to. And Origami Bird Clash. We just got done with Origami Bird Clash. Come on. This time they're introducing a 30-player version. I don't want to think about how long it's going to take to eliminate 30 players. Please stop this, Hoyo. I don't want to play match 3. If I wanted to play match 3, I'd be playing Bejeweled, not Honkai Star Rail. Please,
what's
please,
the one
no more.
all the white ants play? Wasn't there like one that was super popular?
I don't know. I don't know any white ants, so. But yeah, please, no more Origami Bird Clash. Please stop doing this. I'm going to be forced to go and play multiplayer match 3 against people because I want Stellar Jade. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Unfortunately, there is like a cadre of people who are fanatical about Origami Bird Clash. And I know this because they post their screenshots on Twitter. I don't understand, but they exist and they are a marketable demographic, unfortunately. And then next, the next one is Try Not to Laugh Challenge, is what it's called. It is the combat challenge event for the patch, and it is elation themed, so it's almost certainly going to involve Sparkle and possibly Sampo. The core gimmick this time is basically you have characters who are designated as comedians who will do things when you have charged a certain item, etc. Although the details are really, really unclear. They haven't given any particular information other than that it's just going to be sort of like a randomized grab bag of effects is what it seems like. But there are people in the leaking community who are saying that this is a trial for the elation path that they are allegedly going to release in 4.x, but it feels like I was saying earlier, the quality of the leaks coming out has dropped precipitously over the past few weeks, and this is one of those times I think that is the case, because I think that they just looked at the name Try Not to Laugh Challenge and that it involves the Masked Fools and just concluded, because they're all saying that this is trial material for the elation path. But it doesn't actually look like that to me. If it really is, then the elation path is incredibly boring, because it just looks like the same sort of combat bonuses that you usually get on the action order. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's more to it because they haven't shown very much. But yeah, I think that the leakers are basically full of shit at this point. That they make unbelievably reaching generalizations and assertions based on like keywords that they happen to notice, and then talk about it as if they have actual information. But yeah, and then next, Anomaly Arbitration. So Anomaly Arbitration is joining the rotation of once per cycle in-game modes. And this is going to be sort of like the Pinnacle Challenge one that they're releasing, the same way you've got Stygian Onslaught in Genshin. It's going to be constructed around having 3 different teams, much like Stygian Onslaught, that you're going to have to field and defeat 3 different bosses, which will unlock the 4th boss, which is the money shot. The 4th boss will allow you to use any of the characters in your lineup. It doesn't require you to have a 4th auxiliary team that you've kept in reserve this entire time. It's going to be obnoxiously difficult, apparently, according to everything people are saying. And it is basically 1-for-1 following Stygian Onslaught and putting all of the best items in there. So they are introducing a couple of new items to the game. And so basically the final stage boss, the hardest boss, will reward items called Lone Stardust and Interference Key. Yeah, Lone Stardust is a currency, is the best thing to call it, that you will be able to buy things from the shop with. The shop is just cosmetics. So this is not presenting any kind of account balance issue. It's just cosmetics. There is one exception to the rule, but the items that are not cosmetics are those, what are they called? Tears of Heaven? You know, the generic skill upgrade mat that you can convert?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically the only gameplay affecting thing that I could see in the shop they previewed. So it's basically not going to amount to very much. And Lone Stardust will also be purchasable to a limit of like 200 tokens by exchanging the feathers you get from other game modes. So even if you don't participate in Anomaly Arbitration at all, you will still be able to eventually get the cosmetics simply by trading in feathers, spare feathers every cycle. So I don't know about you, but I hardly spend the feathers. I get like my resin things, my artifact grist every week, every cycle, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, so that one's not a problem. The key item that everybody is, no pun intended, that everybody is focused on though is the interference key. So interference key is basically an auxiliary item that you can choose to spend at the same time that you spend a variable dice. So variable dice allows you to do over the substat rolls on an item that you've leveled up. What interference key does is it will lock out one of the 4 stats as impossible to roll an upgrade here. So it allows you to basically cook your odds significantly in your favor. The problem is that this only comes from the hardest boss in the game at any given time, which is the final stage of Anomaly Arbitration. You know, the people who already have perfect artifacts on all their characters, they're the ones that get this.
Why do they keep
So it's
doing
pretty
this?
much the same. Pardon?
Why do they keep doing that?
I don't know. Same as Stygian Onslaught. The one sort of pseudo bright spot is, number one, we don't know exactly how hard it will be. Number two, we don't know what the thresholds are for 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. And number four, how many numbers have I said? It doesn't really matter. Number three, based on the previews, if it remains unchanged, you only need a 1 star clear to get the interference key. The 2 star and 3 star clears just offer more currency for the cosmetics shop. So if the 1 star is just you manage to get through this at all, bleeding and crying all the way through, and it doesn't matter if you took 50 turns to do it, but you managed to make it in the end, then that would be fine. Because that's something you can reasonably build towards. But really difficult clears like 0 cycles of whatchamacallit, Memory of Chaos and that. Well, I mean, there are people who say, oh, 0 star is easy. What are you, a noob? But the zero cycles are not easy. I'm sorry. You've got to spend a lot of time tuning your characters to do that.
It's entirely luck based. Did your gear roll
Yeah.
good enough?
Did you get enough pieces with speed on them that are not for Tribby? Like, this is what it comes down to. Because it's all speed tuning, right? Star Rail is addicted to speed. The only thing that matters is your team speed tuned correctly. Once you get past the threshold of I can clear the boss, the only thing that matters is your turn order right, and then is your turn order fast enough. So if that is all that matters, well, only the people who are like autistic at the game are going to be able to do any of this. But if they let you just do it at all, if they just make the boss, balls to the wall hard, so that, you can actually fight him down in an actual combat as opposed to trying to let him take any turns, which is something that has always really mystified me about Star Rail. Why do they keep making the primary strategy avoid letting the boss take any turns? Isn't that like just undoing all of the design work you do on your boss abilities? But yeah, hopefully they will allow it to be like super generous in terms of time limit to clear the 1st star. Just let it be so that if you have a team that can figure this out at all within like a really generous turn limit, like 10 turns, 30 turns, I don't know, lots of turns, then give them their 1 star, let them get their interference key so they can build their account up. Let the people who are autistic about the game mode do the 0 cycle clear. They can get all the cosmetics they want ahead of everybody else and show them off on their profile. For the rest of us, just let us get the thing that will help our account get better, please. But they're going to give you sort of like, bronze, silver, gold, platinum type borders for your avatar in the social end of Star Rail. So people who want to show off can, like, everybody who sees you in the sort of the generic random player search lobby or who sees you in their friend list, if you have cleared it with like a 0 cycle, you're going to have that diamond colored border around your portrait. Everybody will know that you spent way too much time speed tuning your characters. I mean, that you're really good at the game.
Spent way too much money.
Yeah.
But, the thing is that even if you have like E6 on all your characters, if they're speed tuned badly, you're still not going to be able to clear it.
Well, no, you got to spend money to do your refreshes to make sure you got enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much money you'd need to spend to bore the random number god that much that they'll just turn over the speed gear to you, or the anti-speed gear that doesn't have speed on it. But yeah. So yeah, I hope that they lower the bar immensely, and if they don't, then I'm going to continue feeding them that feedback every single feedback form until they do. Because it doesn't make sense to give account building items to people whose accounts are already perfectly built. It just frustrates them because they're getting something they don't care about, and it frustrates everybody who is underbuilt because the thing that they need is being held out of their reach.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gift of Odyssey will be back because it's back every patch, which is the 10 free pools. Planet Fisher will be back. Realm Strange will be back. There are 2 new relic sets. I've gone into them in the past, and they've changed radically since they were launched in CBT. So I'm not going to bother to talk about what they do because who even knows what they do now. But yeah, so there are 2 new relic sets. I checked, and neither Evernight nor Pimenso Terra on live are currently, when you set them as a pull target, recommending any sets to farm. So presumably there's going to be 1 each or something like that, or possibly that there's just they haven't inserted that data yet. But I know that one of those sets is shield centric, so that will almost certainly be Pimenso Terra's set. Yeah, so 2 new relic sets to farm because farming wasn't already time consuming enough. Main story replay system will be implemented. Still, nobody has seen this, so nobody knows exactly how it works or if it will fulfill what we actually want out of it. Because there are a lot of people like me who just want to endlessly troll through the minutiae of the setting by watching certain key scenes over and over again. Like, this is my tism. Nobody knows if it's going to satisfy that or not, or whether they're going to cheap out on it or what. But we'll see, and they'll get feedback as appropriate. They're also adding a journey highlights thing, which is sort of like an adjunct screen to the ongoing events screen, where you can go and it will just list the events and these are the rewards that you have not yet claimed, so you don't miss any Stellar Jade that might be lurking on that list somewhere.
That's nice.
It's just a handy check. Because I know that, like, for things like the restaurant event and that, they keep popping up on the list. They don't go to the bottom when you finish them. And so I keep checking, did I remember to claim all the Stellar Jade? Did I remember to claim all the Stellar Jade? I do this over and over again because I'm paranoid about missing Stellar Jade. So this list will basically give you a checklist of, did you claim all of the claimables for the ongoing events right now? So then they ended the stream, and then, as they often do, I don't know if they always do, they certainly often do, there's a stinger after the stream. And the stinger after the stream was a preview of 3.7 new permanent game mode that they said that they're implementing. What was it called? Called Currency Wars. And they basically didn't tell us anything about it. Other than that it involves a 10-man team. I don't know what that means because on the screen it was stacked with a row of 4 and then a row of 6 below. So what that means, you can speculate. but they said it's going to be based around a 10-man team, and that it would have, you know, various skills in it that you don't see in the main game, etc., etc. I don't know what it is, and they didn't hint what it was. And what I thought was more interesting, because, you know, you can tease something easily without giving any details. What I thought was more interesting is that while I don't go looking for leaks, I do tend to see a lot of them because the algorithm knows I like to look at Star Rail stuff. And none of the leakers have said a word about this.
There's a first.
Like, heaps of people said stuff about anomaly arbitration, but nobody has said anything about a 3.7 new game mode that I saw. So if people are saying it, then the discussion has stayed quite far away from the mainstream, which means that it's only exists on internal servers, and they have managed to keep it quiet because nobody breathed a word about it. Now, I am hoping that this isn't Genius Invocation, because I do not actually want to play Genius Invocation.
Had to do that this week.
I actually don't know how competent Genius Invocation is as a collectible card game minigame inside another game.
All I know is I found the Stomp the AI team and deck, and it works fine for getting emergency battle pass points.
I haven't gotten far enough into it to even do that.
Nah, I think I've done the tutorial, and that's about it.
But yeah, I'm hoping it's not that. But Star Rail definitely needs more content to give people stuff to do. So if they're going to jam in another permanent game mode, I'm totally okay with that. I just hope that it's not a CCG. And also that it's not a freaking auto battler, though I think that there are two things. Number one, auto battlers are easy to do. Bonkai Impact has done one. It was reasonably engaging for a short-term event. Number two, they are releasing Nexus Anima, which also looks like an auto battler, so they'll sort of be stealing their own lunch if they stuck one in another game. Number three, that's never stopped them before.
Yeah.
Number four, please don't force me to do Genius Invocation, because I don't want to. I really don't want to. I'm so bad at card games. But yeah, so that's basically the content of the previous stream. So there is another game mode coming, and we don't know what it is. Is there actually a reasonable amount of depth to Genius Invocation, Ari? Like, could you play it seriously if you wanted to?
Okay, so I've tried to deck build for it briefly, and a whole lot of the deck building brain goes into how do I mitigate the dice rolls? How can I weight the dice in my favor as much as you? How can I reduce consumption of dice for frivolous crap so I can actually execute my strategy? In that sense, there's a lot of decision making that goes into building your deck. But at the end of the day, you can weight those dice as hard as you can, and even if they roll as bad as possible, you can still make a deck stomp the AI. But when it comes to competitive play, I would have to see what other people are doing for their decks and how they're playing. There is not a whole lot of interactivity. Not that interactivity is particularly common in online card games, just through the nature of the UIs. You might be able to make something out of it. The thing that holds it back and helps it is its key feature of the dice rolls. Because just so much of my deck right now is guarantee that 2 of your dice will be the element of the character you're currently have active on the field. Get an extra reroll when you play this card and it stays on the field after that, and it costs 0 and lets you reroll again to give yourself an additional reroll every turn. Because there's all that going on with it. It seems like there could be something there. The thing that stopped me from getting into it, one, it's a huge effing time sink. 2, the UI moves incredibly slowly, even on sped up mode, for executing stuff in the game. Like, the animations just are not very quick. It's impossible to make it go very fast. It's going to take you like 5 minutes per game, even against the AI. And the dice rolls just leave it so you can get stuffed. And if you're not playing against the AI, getting stuffed means you lose. And there'll be nothing you could have done about it. So I don't... In my mind, that makes it not have legs by default, because there's already enough RNG in a card game from the cards you draw. and I don't need a layer of dice on top of that. Especially when half my deck exists to weight the dice in my favor.
Right. Well, at any rate, I hope Star Roll doesn't put one in because I could live without that thing. So very.
I can give you the pub stomp deck if you want.
Well, I'm not even far enough to be able to build a deck. Like, I just have like the starting cards. So
Yeah.
I don't even know how you get cards.
Go run around the world and duel people. And then when you get enough coins, you go to the shop and you buy them. It's particularly annoying because it will have like 2 in the shop and 1 on a random NPC somewhere when you need 3 copies for the deck.
Anyway, so that's the end of my week, and I'm sure Aristotle is going to talk about Silksong now, which is good because my stomach is very upset. So I'm going to have to turn this over to you guys to carry the show for the time being.
Oh no. Okay.
All right. Other games aside and stuff. I guess yeah, not a whole lot to. We already covered the ZZZ stuff. I play anything but Silksong and a little bit of Genshin and get through the ZZZ stories. On the Genshin end, I'll quickly say the Nyla Bloom team does very silly numbers and also kills you. Bad. You set up the bomb, and the bombs go boom, and you have to stay relatively close with Lauma on the team as your Dendro applicator. And for Kokomi to do her Kokomi thing. But oh boy, you need to find the sweet spot where you are dodging as many of your own explosions as possible, still keeping the enemy in range of the deer, and not moving out of the jellyfish. Now, thankfully, the deer follows you everywhere, so it's more dancing around the jellyfish, and you can make the jellyfish moot when it's time for Kokomi's ult. But my Kokomi does not have the energy regen necessary to keep her ult up full time. So I need to get a bit more on her. And you're going to want the healing percent hat. If Lunar Bloom and the Nyla Bloom damage I've seen going off had not been nerfed for the self damage it does for this patch, you would kill yourself in like 3 blooms.
Right.
I've seen some really big, dumb, funny numbers on the enemy and lost about a third of my HP in the explosion.
This honestly seems less than ideal. Fun, but not ideal.
It is exactly what I was hoping it would be.
Incredibly stupid.
And it's only going to get stupider because my Lauma doesn't have any gear and her weapon isn't leveled up yet. So, yeah, it does the big funny numbers. It does a lot of them when the blooms go off. Not great for farm and trash, but good for domains and bosses. When the boss doesn't have a gimmick that says bring exactly these elements or you're screwed. Cough, cough, see the last 2 bosses released.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been fun. I like running around as the deer with Lauma, as you've seen. She's a very pretty lady, very nice. She's very graceful with her prancing. And our girl Nailu, I've wanted forever. I finally got her. I would have her out on the field more while we're doing crap, but while Lauma is functionally useless and has no gear, Nailu literally doesn't work when playing multiplayer unless Fern and Ball only pick Dendro and Hydro characters. Because Nailu's gimmick is she makes your blooms big, but that her ability to do so just turns off if the entire party is not Dendro and Hydro.
Yeah, she wouldn't work.
Yeah, so I can walk around as her, and she's very, very cute. The adorable little ball of sunshine, so bright that she's an honorary blonde. Also dumb as a bag of rocks. But I've wanted her and to make this team get off the ground for a while, and it's working. And it's working exactly like I thought it would. The caveat is because Lauma came out, it does so much damage now that it's back in the meta. But it's still just as stupid to play as it always has been on paper. And that, I hope you got Kokomi, because if Barbara might be able to cut it, barely. But she's...
Maybe.
Barbara can at least keep her skill up the whole time. If you got a C6 Barbara, at least you're protected from one whoopsie. So, Barbara actually is probably the more mobile version of the team. Her healing output and EM that she can hold is just not as high because your healer needs to be your one that has the elemental mastery. So there's a fine balance of because all the hydro healers scale with HP for how much they heal, uh, and elemental mastery and healing percent. I'm very glad I got Kokomi's healing percent backup hat and just don't use the EM hat because the team would die. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. And that's all I got for Genshin. I'm having fun with the new characters in the new zone. We'll wait till me and Vol get to the end of the story to talk about it in full. We're both at about the same point. Okay, the part that everybody has been waiting on. Up Discord.
Gotta keep, remember, try and keep it as spoiler free as possible.
Yeah, I will.
I know it's not gonna be easy.
So, I have spoiler tagged an image in live show chat earlier in the week that goes over my favorite bosses that are don't have any story relevance, but if you don't want to be spoiled on designs, I guess don't click it, but they're all trailer designs. So we've known about these for a while. How do I say this? Where's a place to start here? Okay, this game was an 11 out of 10. Taken as a total package, go play this game right now. It was
really, really good.
It was 120% worth the 7-year wait.
The fact that it's $20, it's like just you don't have any excuse. Go play it.
You are if you 100% this game and you do as much of it as you can naturally. If you have a similar playthrough to mine, you're looking at a 64, 67 hour experience. And you're getting that. All of that is going to be quality time spent with the game for $20. That is 33 cents per hour, thereabouts, of quality content. Now, keep in mind, I will often pay $20 for like 10 hours of quality content. You're getting 6 times that in this package. And it has all been polished to a T. You can tell every single area is designed intentionally, even BioWater.
Yeah, it's probably especially BioWater.
It is. As much as the internet is losing their effing minds over BioWater, it is very clear every single thing in that zone is intentional. And that it was tested to death. They had a feeling they wanted to invoke, and oh boy, do they invoke it. Now you can argue your game design arguments all you want, all you phenomena people, but at the end of the day, they got across what they wanted to get across, and if you know what you're getting into, you'll be fine. Act 1 does a good job getting you most of the movement abilities early. You do get a couple more later, but the boss fights are good about not needing them. They get you the important upgrades early. Hollow Knight had a shoe, not really a shoe, just a quirk of its design, where you did not get the Shade Cloak until later. And the Shade Cloak gave your dodge iframes. And this meant that bosses that had attacks you needed to Shade Cloak through, for instance, couldn't appear until after, well after you got past a point where the Shade Cloak was available. Same thing for the Double Jump, which is available around the same time. So all the bosses in that block need to assume you have none of the upgrades because of how divergent the paths are. No such case in Silksong because they dump the upgrades on you that you need to progress very early. So all the bosses can be as creative as they feel like being, and they do their best to space out the difficulty as much as they can and prep you for what's coming by having a gradual difficulty curve. And I think they do a fairly good job with it. You really won't run into any difficulty spikes unless you go really off the beaten path, like go try and fight Savage Beastfly in the Hunter's March as soon as humanly possible. Like that kind of stuff is how you're gonna wind up out over your skis a little bit. Now for me, that's fine. I can ski on the big boy slopes. I've played this game before, several of these games before, in fact, and getting out way above my my weight class is what I like to do in these games, just by getting lost and beating my head against stuff until I eventually figure it out. Not everybody's like that. You need to know when to back off and come back later. You've got a lot of video game here. Losing, tapping a bench and having an area mapped out is enough of a win that you can just go, all right, I've seen what the boss here is like. I know reasonably what to expect. I know to come back later. Stick a pin in it. You can buy pins from Chakra and come back later if you are just not ready for it yet and you don't feel like doing the head beaty thing. Now, no matter what you do, some of the bosses in this game are designed to kick you in the nuts. They're going to sit you down and make sure you learn their patterns and tells. And all of them are fair. Some of them are very, very fast. My favorite boss is a boss called First Sinner. And she is holy crap fast for a boss. But she is also the most readable boss on the planet. So simultaneously, it is testing your position and to a lesser extent your reaction time, which really surprised me because she's so clear with her telegraphs. It's mostly about just making sure you're always in a good position rather than pure reaction time. And they managed to do this with a boss that's entirely based around speed. And it feels really, really good to do. It's a truly unique feeling experience. And it's hard to convey with words unless you've done it. But that boss is a 100% optional boss that I could imagine some people will need a guide to find because it's a little... I didn't because of events that happened early in Act 2 for me. But you can... and I wound up with 2 of the 3 keys you need to get to her by accident.
Oh.
So, yeah, I won't spoil that section of the game. But yeah, that is easily my favorite boss. I did it with only one needle upgrade, and advise people to do the same. If you have the ability to upgrade your needle a second time, go find First Sinner instead, and do that fight with only one needle upgrade, so you don't overscale it. I don't know how much relative damage the second needle upgrade gives, but that one's worth doing it as early as you can for the full experience. She's a ton of fun. The other one that I really liked was one featured in the trailers. This one you'll have seen is the big red bug with the booty skirt. Is the best way I could put it. She was featured very prominently in a bunch of the later trailers.
Flamenco dress.
Yeah. And she is a ton of fun and emphasizes a part of boss design that will become very common later, and that sometimes the boss will just block an attack. And you think you hear this and you're like, that's going to be really annoying. No. What this actually means is that you can't combo the boss. Because they will never block twice in a row. But what they will do when you block is stop whatever you're doing and make you have to reset and reposition. So it forces you into a position where you have to sit and at least experience some of the boss's moveset if you know you've got yourself really kitted out and are way overscaled for it. So even if you're overscaled for a boss because of needle upgrades and health upgrades and soak upgrades and whatever, you're still going to have to engage with this moveset, which I really like. And I got to her at gear appropriate, and she was, even with that in place, I still loved it. And you can find points in each of their animations where they will not block. For instance, there are some things they just will not block above their head after certain attacks. Sometimes they just can't block high after certain attacks. And sometimes they can't block low on the ground for certain attacks, and you can do a dash attack. And you can get free hits in. And above all else, what the bosses will eventually get hammered into your head the later and later you get is to slow down and watch what they're doing. Do not get greedy. Do not try and panic heal. And there is not an equivalent to the Shade Cloak to eventually come bail you out in this game. Your dodge never ever gets iframes in Silksong. Ever. There is no upgrade for that. There is no charm that I'm aware of that does that.
Well, you've hit 100% now, so if you haven't found it, it's not there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did not try every single charm combination out, and there are secrets to the charms and tools in combinations, just like there were in Hollow Knight. But I do not know a way to give yourself iframes. Basically, what this means is your fights against these bosses are going to be very Devil May Cry style. You're not going to be relying on your iframes. You're going to be relying on positioning. This isn't Souls-like combat. This is very much so more Devil May Cry combat when it comes to at least dealing with incoming damage to relate it to 3D games. Because you just need to not be in a bad position to begin with. You're going to find yourself oscillating a lot when you play this game between full health and no health, and that's fine. That's how the game's intended to be played. You have a very powerful heal because it can be used in air and heals for the full amount on a relatively quick timer, especially when you get the healing speed upgrade charm. And you can even get the healing upgrade charm if you want it to take a little bit longer but heal a little bit more. Heals 4 masks instead. I'm not sure how that affects Beast, Reaper, and Witch, though. Or not Reaper. Beast, yeah, I can't remember all the quest names. I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah, there's a fair few quests, I understand.
Yeah, there's like 7.
Yeah.
So yeah. And yeah, this in general is the way I prefer these type of games to go. I think invincibility frames in 2D games are a mistake. And I'm glad they seem to have realized this as well. So you're going to have to sit down and learn the boss's moveset and learn not to get in a bad position in the first place after an attack. You cannot just go ham all the time, especially when you don't know the boss's moveset. And as you do the fight more and more and more, you'll naturally find the openings you're looking for, and where you can exploit it a bit more, which moves you get very comfortable with, which ones are still a problem, which ones you really need to slow down for and don't take advantage of because you don't know how to punish that yet. And the bosses just kind of naturally teach you what to do over time without any conscious thought on your end, as long as you're in a flow state with the game, which I find incredibly easy to get into with Silksong. Like there's never any conscious thought when in terms of words when I'm fighting these bosses. It's pure flow state. And it did this for almost every single boss in the game.
Get in the groove.
Yeah. Anytime I ran up against the boss I didn't one-shot, it was a pure flow state learning experience from start to finish. And that speaks volumes about the quality and the polish these bosses have. They actually did work their butts off to make these things as well put together as humanly possible. None of them ever felt just unfair. Like I can't deal with that. Whenever I would get hit by an attack, it was immediately clear what I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
So
like even early on, I've run into a couple of bosses where the first attempt you just get absolutely paddled.
Yeah.
But once you take an attempt or two to see what the boss is actually doing, that boss can suddenly become like you can do it without being hit.
Yeah. So
as long as you know how to counter each of its moves.
Yeah. Because I don't want to totally break up the review or the go here between good and bad things, I'm going to address some of the community complaints. I say community in the loosest term. What I mean by community is the Silksong hype got so big because it functionally became a meme with all the game pressers for people to ask about Silksong. And the wish listing got so out of hand that we have tourists who do not know what Hollow Knight's about and did not play the original game, or were people that was so monomaniacally attached to Hollow Knight that they do not remember what it was like on their first Hollow Knight playthrough. Both of these camps have started crying about a whole lot of things that just make me want to smack them upside the head. So, okay, the first big one that I see everywhere is, oh, the boss runbacks are too hard, too long. You don't understand the point of a boss runback, number one. Number two, none of them are that bad. Even the so-called worst example that you're presenting can be done in less than 40 seconds once you master it. Mastering the runback on a hard boss is part of the learning curve and gives your brain time to adjust and for you to process what's going on. It is also a price you pay for losing to the boss. If you were able to retry Last Judge over and over and over again, and didn't have the blasted steps run, everybody would down her super fast and everybody would call it too easy. The fact that there's a run back that has to engage your brain while on your way back and force you to process what's happening is what makes that boss more memorable. Like I do not have a problem with run backs at all. The the
As
only
long as they're not excessive,
there's only
fine.
one in the game that is excessive, and it's only excessive because you have to do a minion gauntlet of the most obnoxious minions in the game before you fight the boss, and it's in
Yeah.
Biowater. Like it is
Yeah.
the
Unless of course you don't if you you miss the booby trapped bench, in which case it's probably Beastfly. But
oh
yeah.
no it's still worse even with the hidden bench in Biowater. Trust me.
Ugh. Ew.
Like that is the only run back that has any kind of legitimate complaint about it, and even then, it's still for the type of feeling they're going for in that area. It feels right.
All
Um,
right.
um, I totally understand what they were trying to evoke with that. I could also totally see them caving on putting a bench a little bit closer to the boss.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are getting hard stuck there, and I get it, but this is just get good. I
Get
mean, and
good.
a lot of people like to scoff at the get good mentality. A lot of people don't like it when people say that. Too bad. Do you know how many
Yeah,
video games come out every year that cater to the whims of every baby that whines about every little thing? The people that,
that's it. That's called the AAA market.
yeah, like we have zillions of these that come out every year. If we're lucky, we get one, maybe two games that don't. That just present you with a challenge, no difficulty options, just play the game and you can have a shared relatable experience with everybody and know that everybody else that beat it went through the exact same thing as you did and it was a fair and fun challenge from start to finish. Do you know how uncommon that is relative to the number of game releases every year? Those of you that don't actively seek out challenging games, incredibly rare. So when all you tourists come into our games, for those of us that enjoy this, and start demanding that it become like the games that you play all the time, whatever AAA slop you played from Ubisoft this week, we get a little miffed about it. And that's where the get good mentality and response comes from.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for just banging your head against a particularly difficult boss and finally getting it.
Like, I get it.
That feeling you get from when you do that is you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, I understand that's not for everybody. I understand some people just do not like the frustrating or get super frustrated with the experience or get very angry and uh and have a hair trigger temper at video games and can fall into the blame the game mentality and they don't like that feeling. You know, I get it. I totally understand. You have 30 bajillion other video games to play. And I would not call Silksong exceptionally difficult. Its rules are very laid out, and its bosses are very easy to learn the patterns for people that play games with teeth to it. I would say Silksong does have teeth. It's not going to hold your hand, and it will kick your butt up and down with a few of the bosses, but it's not built to be the most difficult thing on the planet. It's not exceptionally hard, but those of us that have played Hollow Knight do enjoy the teeth that Hollow Knight and Silksong by extension have as part of the gameplay experience. So stop your touristing and hurry up and quit the game if you're just going to go and complain to Team Cherry about it. Now,
Or get good.
or get good and join the club. You may find that if you can control your anger and frustration and just take it in stride and work yourself into a flow state, this is a feeling you've been missing your whole life and you never knew it.
Yeah. Generally,
I
if
still think Margaret is a cunt.
I mean, well, he is, but for entirely different reasons. But
Actually,
Well, I don't know. Like I talk to people and they say that the speedrunners to this very day always fall over on Margaret. Like Margaret is the
Yeah.
only real sticking point in the game for speedrunners.
oh, they it depends on which one they're doing because they effectively skip all the bosses, even the mandatory ones. But yeah, that's
yeah,
that's something that's
that's
been annoying me.
yeah. In general, if you find yourself getting annoyed and frustrated with a boss, put the game down. come back in a few hours and then give it a go, and
Now,
you'll be amazed.
This is actually really well documented in cognitive science that smashing your face against something, it only is efficient for a certain period of time, and then it hits diminishing returns, and you need to recharge. Otherwise, you are going to stop learning. And that during the recharge time, the information will set, and it will
Yep.
stop being so sloppy.
yeah,
So you can actually learn faster by doing an optimal amount of attempts, then taking a break, and then doing another optimal amount of attempts, compared to just doing doing twice as many attempts without taking a break.
And
Yeah.
sooner or later, you'll reach a point where you've gone from being paddled by a boss to absolutely bodying it.
yeah. And honestly, if you want to keep playing the game and you're just getting frustrated at a boss, you can continue to play the game. Just go do something else in the game. The
It's
exploration
not like
mindset,
it's a tiny game or something.
yeah, the exploration mindset is totally different than the boss combat mindset when you're playing. Like there's the flow state for exploration is similar, but still different from the boss fight mindset, and requires a different brain space. So that can function as your break. But I know that the tourists are memeing on this because I've seen the memes about them making fun of people that tell them to take a break if they're getting frustrated. But it really works. Like there have been times and plenty of like you think I beat Radon without taking breaks pre nerf at tree level 16? You're insane. There was no way I could have beat him in one sitting. Because you can feel the diminishing returns hitting and yourself reinforcing bad habits. And the second you ID that you're reinforcing bad habits, that's the break point. That is, get up for an hour, go make some lunch, or go do something else in the video game, and come back to it with a brain that has not been hammering on the same thing for a while, and you'll suddenly find yourself doing things a lot easier than you thought. So that is the best advice I can give people that are crying about runbacks and trips back to the boss. The next thing I'm seeing people cry about, oh, so is stuff that's too massive damage. And this means you have less margin for error. Okay. Means you will get punished more for getting out of place on or touching big-bodied enemies. Oh no. This adds a level of threat to the big-bodied enemies that weren't really present before because clearly Team Cherry wanted them to be a bigger obstacle, where you have to either commit to killing them and use resources like your tools, your ammo to do it, or slowly take your time poking them down to make that area safer, or carefully traverse around them. It adds to the exploration feel.
Yeah, the biggest thing I have to that is yes, they do deal like 2 massive damage, but you also heal a lot easier and quicker than you did in Hollow Knight.
Yeah, you need a full silk spool to heal, and like I was talking about before, the game clearly leans into its feeling of oscillation between full and no health. And it does take 8 hits to refill that silk spindle to get enough for a heal, but that's just kind of how the game's balanced. Like it's clearly set up for you to be constantly engaged by having your health either be full and you're totally in the zone, or you're in desperate panic mode to extend the boss fight a bit more to get some more practice in, or maybe squeak out a win. Like this is just the way they've designed it, and it works incredibly well when you understand that's what they're going for. Now, as for exploration with it, I honestly, some things doing 2 massive damage just kind of makes sense. It doesn't bug me. It makes me plan my routes a little more creatively when I'm going through areas. Do I really want to deal with the thing that could potentially take 2 masks off? Do I know what risks are associated with going past the big bodied thing or the thing that's void touched or whatever that's going to do 2 masks when I touch it? Like, am I just?
It just tells you to slow down and actually take the threat seriously rather than go burr.
Yeah, like there's decision making because of the 2 masks in exploration. And when it comes to the bosses doing 2 massive damage, okay. I mean, the joke is there in that, oh, I got my first mask upgrade. Now I can went from taking 3 hits from bosses to taking 3 hits from bosses. Yeah, but the other thing you people aren't mentioning is that only about half the bosses do 2 massive damage with something in their kit, and only about a fifth or to a sixth do 2 damage with everything, and most of those are in the late game. there are a few early game bosses that do two mass with everything. Everybody points to the Savage Beast Fly, but the Savage Beast Fly is something you do if you get out over your skis. If you go
Honestly,
literally
the
in,
Savage Beast Fly is incredibly easy to avoid. It's the ads that make that fight annoying.
yeah, it's a
And they only do one,
yeah, and
mostly.
never mind that the Savage Beast Fly is hidden in an area where the platforming is obviously harder than everything else in the game, and they put a big-bodied giant dude with a crap load of HP as a mini boss to block the door and will not even let you in until you can beat him. And then further, they put a relatively challenging for the early game gauntlet right after him to be sure you're really ready to keep going. Like, you should know what you're getting into by that point going down Hunter's March.
Yeah.
They signposted about as clear as they can that this is an area that you can consider coming back to later because stuff is clearly way stronger than what you've been fighting before. But some people can't take the hint, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I went to Savage Beast Fly as soon as I could, but that's because I've been playing this type of game forever. And I
I
think
did it because I didn't know the Savage Beast Fly was there and just went, oh, I wonder what's this way.
he went that way because I told him Hunter's March existed in the first place and he could beat the mini boss now.
I was going to go back and beat that mini boss pretty soon anyway, so yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's actually the arena fight there that gave me more trouble than Savage Beast Fly.
did Chakra show up for you in that arena fight?
She didn't. So, no.
So you did it a bit later than me.
Yeah.
But Chakra actually showed up to help me do that fight. Like, she acted as an ally.
Okay. No, I had to do that all on my own.
Yeah. I got there stupid early, and Chakra showed up to help. She's not a super big help, but she showed up.
Didn't you hire her though? I thought you paid her money to help.
That was a much later fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's 2.5 acts further down the road. Or like 2 acts further down the road. Yeah, that was approaching the end of Act 2, I think.
Yeah, okay. So I wonder if that's just the game saying, yeah, you're here a bit earlier. Let's just give you a little bit of a nudge.
Yeah, also appears you have to finish her quest line in order to get her to do that from the videos I've seen that you saw me hire her. Like, that's just that particular gauntlet is notoriously difficult. Oh, you remember that thing that I broke and we couldn't figure out what it did?
Oh, yeah?
Vol was watching me play, and I broke something in the Citadel, and we weren't sure what it did. It was kind of tucked away. It removed a bunch of enemies from that gauntlet that are really obnoxious, and turned that gauntlet into a boss in its own right. But breaking that stops those enemies from spawning. Those enemies, for context, drain your silk and fly.
Oh, the KKK flies.
Yeah. So it just stops those from spawning during the gauntlet. So, yeah, that's what that was about. I went and looked that up after I beat the game. And yeah, to get Chakra to offer to help you, you have to fully complete her entire quest line, which means finding all her maps, because she doesn't sell the maps for every single area, but she sells all the early and mid-game ones, and once you buy all those, she'll have a quest for you in Belheart, and you do that, and you can have her help you with that gauntlet as well. So that gauntlet has apparently also been a pain point for people that people are crying about, but I just told you 2 ways to make it easier that are built into the game just by doing some exploring.
Yeah, with a cool character who yodels.
Pachanka. Also,
I thought all these people who are whinging, they all dream of fighting the KKK though.
Oh, supposedly. Maybe they're just too triggered by seeing the Grand Wizard hood. So yeah, there's that, and honestly, the 2 masks don't bother me in any scenario. I can kind of understand reducing the mass damage on some of the environmental hazards to 1 because it's inconsistent. But it's
like right now that they've changed it, things like lava and the big falling boulders and stuff still do 2 masks.
Yeah, well, the fire hazards specifically have an item to make them only do 1.
Yes.
There's an equipable charm that's very easy to get in very early.
You get that really early on, yeah. It's about the first vendor.
Yeah,
vendor.
it has like a 3-second recharge, but while it's charged, you just passively only take 1 damage from fire. Then it'll break, and 3 seconds later it'll recharge. So it's functionally always active and reduces the damage you take from fire, which is very handy on a lot of bosses that do fire. Because even though it says it's built for the deep docks, it actually works for everything that's fire. If it does 2 damage and it's fire, that trinket will make it do 1.
So it's a handy trinket to have.
Yeah. I get that the worms and the blasted steps and everywhere that has those worms with teeth doing 2 mass could be obnoxious, but honestly, it's supposed to be a threatening area. The whole
And they see the future.
they chew on feet, so they are feet worms.
I see.
Well, my feet are what usually touches them anyway, so I assume they chew on feet. But yeah,
It doesn't really have feet.
Yeah, you hazard respawn, which means you spawn at the nearest stable ground to wherever you got chomped on if you fall into the sand on that map, and they just chomp off 2 hearts. But that didn't seem like that big of a punishment to me, especially when healing is also, it's just not very hard. Like, even in BioWater, where it gets the most complaints for obnoxious runbacks and environmental hazards and stuff, they give you plenty of, like, baby flying enemies right by doorways that you can just go smack a couple times, run back through the doorway, and then run back into the room where the baby enemy was, smack it a couple more times before it can even really aggro, leave, do it again. Oh, look, you got a full thing of silk. You can get rid of the maggots and you can heal. Like, and that area is designed to be environmental hazard the area. Light Town, eat your heart out.
Designed to be a love letter to poison swamps.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Fern will be able to articulate BioWater when he gets there. Fern is normally chill about stuff. I don't think he'll be able to contain his rage at BioWater. I thought it was interesting in retrospective. In retrospect, I enjoyed my time in BioWater, and I know they accomplished exactly what they mean to do. When you're doing it, they clearly...
Well, is that what they want you to do was to have a ragegasm?
Yes.
Yes. Sounds like it.
And it is it is both frustrating and wondrous in retrospect, because you realize just how polished that area actually is in terms of gameplay and platforming, and how much testing they must have had to do to include it. Like, they knew exactly what they were doing. You thought the Hunter's March bench was mean.
Hunter's March bench is mean. Like, it's so early in the game that they pop that on you.
Wait till you get to the one in BioWater.
Oh no. Yeah, if you sit on a bench and it goes click, move real quick.
Yeah. I don't know if you can dodge that one. But yeah. So there's that. And I've seen a few other miscellaneous complaints that don't really amount to anything. I hope Team Cherry doesn't start suddenly acting like the internet exists and responding to feedback, because I really kind of want them just to keep the game as is. I honestly thought the game was as close to ideal as it could have gotten. Like, when at the peak of my hopes for this game, it pretty much met those. I cannot conceive of a way where it could have been better. I loved everything about it, start to finish. And I mentioned BioWater and how even that area is designed, but every area is meticulously designed and tested to death. Like, everything in this game is polished. That there is not a bug or an issue or a soft lock or a stuck anywhere that I encountered. Everywhere I go, I went in that game on my first playthrough. No matter what zone I was in, how often the weeds I got, and how clearly I wasn't supposed to be here yet, the game still let me do it. There were no issues, no bugs. The game didn't break. It didn't get mad at me for doing something I wasn't supposed to do. It just let me do it, and they had accounted for everything. Like, this is the level of polish we're working at with these 7 years of dev time. So they seem to have actually been telling the truth when they said they were polishing this thing to death.
They did.
And every area is fun to explore. Even Biowater, even though you're going to hate yourself while you're doing it. It's it is a ton of fun to run through the areas and just find junk. And exploring that place without a guide was really a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now that it's been a week or so, it's getting harder to avoid spoilers.
Oh yeah, this is the other reason I know life it every
Really,
minute.
I still don't know anything about the story.
Oh yeah,
I
the
managed to avoid everything.
If you go to
Because,
YouTube and click on one single Silk Song thing, you'll suddenly
oh
get
yeah,
spoiled.
I guess I have not been looking at Silk Song stuff on the algorithm to try and bait the algorithm into giving me
Yeah.
specifically story content.
The algorithm baited me with Sherma, and
yeah
damn you, algorithm.
yeah you will get boss designs out, but honestly, unless you watch a full video of the fight, mechanically, it's going to be very hard to spoil yourself unless you're just deliberately watching.
Like, yeah, it showed throw it up on a thumbnail. Like, this is what the Silk Queen looks like, and honestly, it's kind of the boss I expected it to be. But still,
Yeah,
just why?
our new Radiance.
Yeah,
But yeah,
'cause, yeah, she looks basically how you expect her to. But even so, it's like, yeah, I didn't want to see that.
it's okay. You haven't been spoiled on the true final boss yet,
Yeah, which is good.
and holy crap, that fight is amazing. Like I didn't. I only took about an hour and a half of attempts on it because I clicked with it so fast. But I had so much fun in that hour and a half learning that boss. So if you do go all the way with it and get to the true ending, there is an amazing final boss waiting for you at the very end. And the true ending has for Hollow Knight fans a lot of a big lot of fan service going on that had me hooting and hollering audibly.
Nice.
So yeah, I cannot find any major faults with the game. Like everything that could no, most of it was even to my taste. I can't point out anything that wasn't to my taste in the game as far as difficulty or play in the video game goes. The presentation was exactly as I expected. The game was the gameplay somehow beat what I expected for exploration, and the boss fights are all amazing. And we're talking a game that has 235 unique enemies, 48 of which are bosses.
And the soundtrack is just on point.
Oh yeah. I do not know if it will play for everybody, but there's a particular track that is a remix of Hornet's theme from Hollow Knight 1, her boss theme,
Nice.
and it's really good. And there's the aforementioned Scar Singer, her boss theme is really good too. Just tons of really good themes and boss themes in that game. Oh, we finally figured out what happened to the backer who paid a crapload of money to have a character included in the DLC. Uh, what happened to his boss he designed because he set to design a boss. It's in Silksong. Its name
Oh, good.
is his name is it's named after him. It's called Seth.
Did you
That
design a good boss fight is the question.
he
Hey,
must
people.
he must have given Team Cherry a lot of good notes because he has since then died of his cancer.
Oh.
He was terminal when he made the donation.
Yeah, okay. Bit of background lore there.
Yeah, so Seth is in the game, and he is a very fun boss fight and a mandatory one at that. So everybody's going to get to see him. And after you beat him, go run around the world a bit and find him a few times.
Oh, he's just around the place?
There is a thing that does not remember you that's also called Seth that looks conspicuously like him.
Huh.
And when you
Every time you
realize
say that, I just think, hey, people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, I had known about the guy that donated to have a boss made, but and had submitted some early designs, but then passed away. Apparently, Team Cherry didn't forget, and
That's good. That's
they
really good.
he is a very simple design boss because it's based off a dude's random bug design. So he's not exactly over designed here. He's just a random bug with a spear and a shield. But man, they made him a fun boss fight for such a basic, similar body type to Hornet bug. But it also has what I am certain is everybody that's gotten that far is favorite boss. With you'll know him before his name even pops up. His name is Robio, and he is a very dramatic
Oh,
bug.
that sounds incredible.
He is
But yeah,
he is the biggest fruity scenery chewer of all time, and you will not even see his name pop up before you know what this guy's deal is. As soon as you walk in his room, and he is an incredibly fun boss fight, and gets a remix of his boss fight you can do later with a totally new moveset.
sounds like that. There's a boss in Hollow Knight 1 that was very similar to that. Like he just shows up and he starts chewing on the scenery immediately.
Oh, Dung Defender.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is the Dung
you
Defender
know
of
what
this
Dungeon
game.
Defender's all about.
He's all about having fun and throwing poop.
Yep, and
Zach,
being incredibly bombastic while doing it.
he's also one of the
Right.
apparent.
See.
He's apparently one of the nicest members of the Royal Guard, and very jovial, and everybody loves him, or loved him before Hollow Nest got infected by the Radiance.
All he wants to do is throw poop.
Yeah,
I mean, is that a social faux pas in their society? I don't even freaking know.
they're
Yeah,
bugs.
they're bugs, so probably not.
Yeah. So the funny bug game made by 3 people has blown it out of the water. Uh, I don't
Yeah.
I don't know how I can shill this to you any harder. Like Team Cherry has put this game out for $20 with 60 plus hours of quality content if you do it without a guide, probably around 40 if you do it with it. And you go for 100%. Like you're
I mean,
gonna
like I would play it if you could figure out a way to install more hours in the day.
There is that.
yeah. But part of the reason I did the shotgun throwing Silk Song to everybody is because Team Cherry just deserves more support for this as much as they can get because they've just
Yeah.
knocked it out of the park.
Actually, that's one thing I really do appreciate is they've toned down Hornet from those early trailers. Like the early trailers, they basically just reused her voice lines from Hollow Knight 1, and they work for a boss fight, but not for so much for a protagonist.
Okay, this is the one complaint I've got about the game. There is
Okay.
no button that makes her say Shaw.
There is no Shaw button, no.
Her most iconic voice line from the boss fight, not there. We do get a whole lot of Garama.
Well, there's
Yeah, hold on
no
again.
there's no like Pale King there anymore. So why would she need to talk about saws?
But she has a saw. Her dad's looking down from bug heaven, going, "That's my
Her
girl."
dad is a degenerate wife swapper.
Look, it was part of a trade so he could seal away the big evil rival god. And his wife okayed it. No cost too great.
They got on with a spider.
I mean, he probably still had to sleep on the bug couch for like at least a couple weeks.
This is some serious lore you're dropping.
But yeah, oh, we do get a whole scene in the end of Act 3. For oh, and to do Act 3, you have to do every single quest in Act 2 and Act 1. Although the Act 1 quests carry over into Act 2. So that's how you unlock the bonus quest at Songclave, a town you'll get to later. That'll allow you to construct a way to get into Act 3.
Right.
Yeah, and Act 3 definitely has the much more conclusive finale. Like Act 2 ending there is it does not resolve anything really.
Right.
So yeah. Yeah, go play the video game. Don't
Yeah.
listen to the naysayers online. Apparently, it's getting review bombed a bit on Steam because the simplified Chinese localization was really bad.
Likely the machine done.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal was there, but apparently it was super
Yeah,
duper
I'm pretty sure
awful.
their 3-man team wasn't doing it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's a very silly thing to review bomb over. It's like just make a comment.
Well, I mean, the Chinese will review bomb over anything under the sun.
True.
last I checked, they hadn't managed to get it under 90%. But if you're wondering why the reviews are there, it's apparently mostly those people. And while the minority tourists are incredibly vocal as they always are, and have managed to dominate all the discussion threads on like the Steam forums and Reddits and all those places, most people still seem to be enjoying the game and having fun with it. Everybody that knew what they were getting into is having a blast.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's worth it. Like I no life the crap out of that game because I wanted to avoid even the temptation of spoilers, and it was definitely the right decision. But yeah, there's just
You're out of the safe, easy to avoid spoilers territory now.
yeah, and I honestly I could sit here and rattle off spoiler after spoiler to you, and you would still have so much to discover in that game. It wouldn't even be a drop in the bucket.
If you did that, I would be smacking that disconnect button so quick.
Yeah, it would be such a drop in the bucket because that game is so big.
It is a very. We should do a quick whip around to the news and get out of here.
We got an email.
Oh, we do have an email. Okay, let's do the email.
I think it covers most of the stuff that we were talking about, but I'll let Vol do it because I'm banned.
Yes.
Excuses. Right, I'm just going to move this to the monitor that's in front of me instead of the one off to the side so that I can actually face the microphone. This email is entitled Silk Moon.
Yes.
So it's from our good buddy Serathis. Dear No Excuses. So, stepping into the new content, a niggling thought immediately occurred to me and hasn't left since. Effing magnets, how do they work? Well, here we are in Nodcry, drawn without reference material, apparently. +1 internets if you get this obscure reference. And so begin my adventures of magnets. Still don't know how do they work. Leveling not Dommy Mommy, slightly autistic mechanic kid, and Mona, who I got as a free 5-star, then immediately got a copy of her on the first 10 pull. And their weapons. Of course, the first 5-star...
The gacha is out to get you.
Of course, the first 5-star weapon ended up being Nahita's, so got to level that too. And gear, of course. Some of your luck appears to be rubbing off on me, because so far I have made 15 pulls on the domain and only got feather and flower for mom and kid. The content itself is fine, however, once I got the hang of magnets. I have no idea how anyone can play this on a touch screen with how precise you have to move the view sometimes to be able to attack/repel items. The main story was interesting, primarily because finally, after 5 years, Genshin's macro narrative seems to be moving out of the world-building exposition phase and maybe moves into the conflict part. HSR stays the same in my boredom. I'm just farming spare trace materials, just in case a new character I want drops. Already pre-farmed pretty much everything for Dragon Boy. ZZZ bit the bullet and went for Seed because I still lack any good Electro DPS other than Archer Boy. And while they are not made for each other, they still work well together. Serathis.
Yeah. I mean, you have to suffer through feet, but Seed's a good girl. You know, a little autistic and insane, but still a good girl. As for Nodcry, you know, I have not done a whole lot of exploration of Nodcry, and I have also gone magnets, how do they work? And yes, I understand your ICP meme, and that makes us old. So yeah, we covered much of these topics in the earlier stuff, but yeah, I too have had issues with the control of the environmental puzzle solving in Nodcry. Just I'm never quite sure if it's the camera lined up wrong, or if something's even over there that I can interact with, or if I'm supposed to move something. It's not very intuitive. I guess is the way to put
I'm
it.
like, I just googled it and I'm 90% sure that he's making a Sam and Max reference.
Because magnets, how they work, I think of the
No,
insane.
that's barely a reference. Everybody knows that. It's the only thing they're famous for.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know his Sam and Max reference, although I guess you can guess it from his
It's the reference
from his
material
avatar.
thing. The reference material thing. There's a comic panel about not knowing what goes on in the Philippines.
Yeah. I guess I should have put two and two together given his avatar.
Oh, well.
I never actually played the original Sam and Max at the Road.
Yeah, I didn't either.
You should. It's one of Lucasfilm's or LucasArts
LucasArts.
great classics
Before they stopped existing.
before they stopped existing or they got eaten by Disney.
They get
Did
eaten
they
by...
also make Full Throttle? Was that them?
They did, and
Yeah.
they also did The Dig. And
Did anybody play The Dig?
I did. I finished it.
I know that it had a huge a huge marketing push in about 1996 or 1995, whenever it was, but I don't remember. And I remember seeing it in a lot of stores, but I don't remember hearing from anybody who had actually played it at the time.
Yeah, it became a meme just because of how convoluted the story gets. And a lot of people got tuned out of it, especially when, main character gets killed off pretty early on. Because that just wasn't done in adventure games at the time. You don't kill
Look,
characters.
you can't kill Guybrush Threepwood unless you're planning to have a part of the game where he's a ghost or a zombie.
Well, or you let him stand underwater for 10 minutes.
He can hold his breath that long, it's fine.
Yeah, but there's that one part in the game where he's standing at the bottom of the ocean, and yeah, if you stand there for 10 minutes, he does eventually drown.
There's an Easter egg about that in one of the later games.
Yes. So yeah, the old LucasArts games are all great, and honestly, especially the Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis was probably my favorite.
I remember seeing a lot of people back in the day. People used to write into video games magazines for tips on how to solve puzzles, and that was one of those games.
There was a few puzzles in there that were completely obtuse, and to get the correct or the golden ending involves a conversation tree which doesn't make a whole lot of sense from at the initial go until the villain decides to take the bait. Basically, you goad him into turning himself into a god, which seems completely counterintuitive.
Is it?
Except
Didn't that work
yeah,
in the Aladdin movie?
yeah,
The Disney
basically
Aladdin movie?
the same logic.
What have you been doing in the chasm?
Running around, just doing whole things.
Help you fight the whole thing over there after I put Llama away, because we're going to need real DPS.
Also, I'm running into Abyss Mages, and they are getting really annoying to do in multiplayer.
Click this thing.
Hang on, I'm talking to this guy.
So yeah.
Oh.
Oh, no, you got teleported. Never mind.
Oh, okay, well, I'm over here now. Back to Jinwoo again.
No treasure chest for you.
Alright, I'll have to unyoink myself.
So yeah.
So anyway, news. Nintendo
well,
did a thing.
Yeah, so...
If you want to go...
Before we get too out of our skis, so thank you for the email, Sarathis.
Yes.
We would say more on it, but we already covered a lot of this stuff on
We already did.
on the rest of the comments. Maybe we should move the email up in the show.
Yeah, maybe we put
Well,
it towards
it's in the same place that it always was.
Yeah, I know. But, if we were professionals, we would read emails ahead of time.
Yes, but we don't.
Pre-reading emails. Even Octail and Hordak didn't pre-read emails.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. So,
All right.
video game news aside from people embarrassing themselves with their lack of humanity.
A lot of them getting sacked now, which is nice. But anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. Because that is a very angry rabbit hole. We don't want to go down it.
It's also one we'll be down forever if we do.
Yes. So we've got Nintendo did their Direct, and a lot of it was just kind of middle of the road. Like it's a Pokemon game. You're playing as a Ditto, and you're building an island. Which honestly, I'm just waiting for you to build the obligatory sex dungeon because it's a ditto. You've got new
Right,
megas
the thing.
amounts.
Is that a meme? I don't want to know.
Yes, that's a meme. The Ditto's role in Pokemon is primarily as a breeding tool because it can breed with everything.
That's alarming for a children's game.
Yes,
Presumably,
you
it's only
will-
permissible because it's a children's game.
and don't think about it. Yeah, just don't ask questions. Don't think about it. So yeah, there's like new Mario movie announced and all of that. They're doing Mario Galaxy for the movie, and they're also doing remasters of Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. The most interesting thing they put out, I think, would be Danganronpa 2x2. Or 2x2, however they're pronouncing it.
Oh boy, what's Spike Chunsoft doing now?
So basically, this is a slight glow up of Danganronpa 2, except it also has a second game mode on it now, which is basically the story is the same up until a given point. And then it just goes off in a completely different direction with different victims, different culprits, the whole bit, but the same characters. So it's like an alternate story.
I see. That could be interesting. Duplo 2's core story kind of relies on all of it is slowly building towards chapter 5 and 6 basically, and chapter 5 especially. So if they kill the character that is the victim in chapter 5 early, that could be interesting, but it could also be just awful because the entire story is built around that.
Yeah. Like I don't mind changing it up. Like admittedly the victim and the culprit of the first chapter were pretty much one dimensional.
Well, that the victim and culprit might have been Patsy's, but it was how it sets Nagito up that's important.
Yeah.
Because
Spoilers for people for a 15-year-old game at this point.
Well, everybody knows Nagito's not going to die like your
Yeah.
Kanish just did.
Yeah, I just got bombed because I'm only half paying attention. Barbara, fix it. All right. So that's that one. I might give that one actually a go because like Danganronpa 2 of the trilogy is probably the strongest.
It definitely has the strongest cases overall. It has the best run from start to finish with all the cases, even if it doesn't have any seesaw effects.
Yeah, Danganronpa 1, they were still kind of figuring out what this series is going to be, so it's a bit all over the place sometimes.
I could not
And
stick with
3
that. I felt like I was playing Ken's Labyrinth.
Oh, jeez. And 3 gets silly.
3 is one that I continue to appreciate more and more as every time I put it on YouTube and rewatch some of the cases, but it is an acquired taste.
It is an acquired taste. And honestly, I'd like 3 a lot better with a different ending.
No, I think the ending is pretty core to what they were doing. I think a lot of it is probably, unfortunately, the localizer's fault.
Probably.
Because Kodaka came out and said he was not intending to insult the fan base, and I can see that reading. Although I think the actual reading is more clear if you're not a dumb modern audience type. But yeah, the localizers probably could have done a much better job with that.
Yeah, and if there's a re-release, they might go back and fix that.
It would take a total rewrite. I doubt they're going to do that. They would have to redo the English localization of the end entirely.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, 2 is the strongest, so I probably will check that one out. Eventually.
Yeah. 2 mostly sticks out in my mind for how well it builds up to Chapter 5 and then executes Chapter 5.
Yep. There's also like expansion for Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is seemingly some sort of collect 'em up time trial mode thing it's adding.
Yeah, some new layer as well and stuff.
It just looks like busy work, honestly.
When it comes to DLC for games like that, maybe on a full replay of the game years down the line when all the DLC's out, I'm not going to go individually buy DLC for Collectathon.
Nah.
And yeah. And how many Silk Songs are they going to charge me for it?
2.
$40.
This is your new currency denomination, is it?
30.
So
But
they want 1.5 Silk Songs for a DLC.
they want 1.5 Silk Songs.
Man, inflation's pretty bad.
Double check that. It's apparently up today. They don't have a price on this article though, so I can't double check that. So that's basically the Nintendo thing. They did also announce a remake of Dragon Quest VII.
Why can't they make new games anymore? Is that not a thing?
That is rarely a thing. It's definitely not a thing so much for the AAA.
So you've announced Dingle Rumpus is being released again, DLC for Donkey Kong, re-releasing Dragon Quest. Like, just make a new game.
And
Pokemon.
Furthermore, if they're doing expanded story to Danganronpa, who's the writer? Because Kodaka's not with Spike Chunsoft anymore.
That is a good question. Let's see. Do they say that? No.
Well, I mean, it might be like a director's cut. It might be like an alternative route that they left on the cutting room floor or something. I don't know.
It's possible.
Possible.
Because I know that there were alternate endings, multiple alternate endings were written for the first one, weren't there?
They at least designed the executions for all of them.
Yeah.
No, like there was like an additional story where one of the characters went completely AWOL from the original intention of the villain's plan or something.
Yeah. And there's also there is Danganronpa If, the alternate story that was included in the Vita port of the game. That is the bonus story mode where one of the characters that functionally has no presence in the main story is present the whole time and derails the villain's plans because of it and throws a monkey wrench and everything. But yeah,
that just means that there's precedent for alternate routes then.
Yeah, it's just because Danganronpa relies so heavily on character writing, without Kodaka to do it, it's gonna be
Well, I mean, the thing is, whatever he wrote while he was at Spike Chunsoft is their property, not his.
Yeah, it's
so yeah. There's like 2, maybe 3 other Kodaka games at this point I want to get to, and I still just haven't.
Is he a Wokey?
One of his business partners is. He is more.
He is.
Yeah, he made the Dupaloopa fan base quite mad because some characters were not as gay as they wanted.
It's not possible to be gay enough to please those fan bases.
Yeah, they in fact,
the Dingle Rumpus fan base is only outmassed in terms of autism by the Deltarune and whatchamacallit, Undertale fan bases.
They have a particular flavor of the tism, just as obsessed with the Genshin fandom as with making everybody gay.
What up, Shishroom?
Shishroom.
One I haven't actually done yet, but I want to sometime this week. There is a demo version up for Digimon Time Stranger now.
Man, I've never seen so many people hyped for a freaking Digimon game. It's all over my timeline.
I know, right?
Like, what is it about this Digimon game?
It's been a while since we've had a Digimon RPG.
Stories was.
I feel like Ari talks about a Digimon game every 6 months. But that might just be my getting old time dilation taking place.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an element of that. But
Actually, Fern touched on the last Digimon game that came out before I did, with that grid-based one. Having a brain fart.
Digimon 5,
Yeah,
which gets seriously dark.
I never finished it.
Did you get any dead kids on your hands?
Not yet.
You gonna get dead kids on your hands?
I barely made it past the first few levels in the digital world before I got distracted by something else.
Yeah, I'll tell you now that only the golden ending ends with everyone alive. Only the golden. I think the best one ending
Even
beyond that.
Leomon?
Leomon dies.
The golden ending Leomon dies.
Yeah, I think the golden ending Leomon dies. But yeah, I think the best one of them after that is the bravery ending, and that's half the kids survive.
Yeah, I mean, I like Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, the last two RPGs we got. But
Yep.
they were.
I'll just say, don't kick Terriermon either, because oh dear God, no.
Don't kick Terriermon?
Do not kick Terriermon.
Why would I kick?
Because you're being mean to Terriermon, and if he dark evolves, then things get bad really quick.
What's his dark Digivolution tree?
Wendigomon.
Oh yeah, that's not good.
That's really bad, yeah. Well, actually, to be fair, none of the dark evolutions are good.
Yeah.
They're dark for a reason.
And they require kicking puppies in order to get them there?
Typically, yes. You really need to abuse the Digimon in order to get there. Not just like basic neglect, that's how you get Sukamon.
Oh right, the Lotmon line. I forget Lotmon exists.
Yeah.
That's how we get.
Was it Lotmon or Terriermon? No, I think
in my internal monologue, I've been referring to all the Kuhinki as Lotmons, glowing Lotmons.
they are. Yeah, Lotmon and Terriermon are the same thing. They just color. So
Well, what Lotmon has an extra horn, I think, and is evil aligned or virus type.
yeah, the typing is different as well. Yeah.
I know the data type. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terriermon
So, yeah,
is vaccine type.
If you want a good, really good Digimon story, play Digimon Survivor.
Yeah,
just again, be prepared for dead kids.
Yeah, it's on the I'll get back around to it eventually list. But when that is,
I feel like you have to have a certain amount of emotional investment in Digimon to enjoy these games, I feel. Because Digimon to me is just weird. Like, I watched a bunch of it when I was a kid, but it just seems weird, and then I was scarred for life by Digimon trainers, and I was like, you know what, I don't need more of this in my life. I thought this was going to be like Pokemon. It's not.
That's what Survive is, by the way. It's more Digimon Tamers. Well, no, not quite.
Tamers had a very specific brand of horror.
It did.
Its name was Jerry.
Its name was Jerry. But, yeah, Survive does have its also own brand of horror, but it's not Jerry brand horror.
But Leomon still dies.
Yeah, Leomon dies.
I like how they just keep coming up with new and different flavors of Leomon to die in every single Digimon that pops up.
It's kind of what he does now.
Like, how many Leomon? Like, we have like Bancho Leomon and Saber Leomon. They must have hit critical Leomon by now.
Maybe. Because you got that snow element Leomon line as well, which is not called Leomon, but they look like Leomon.
Oh, you got the Grap Leomon and the Ice Leomons.
My favorite villain was always Edamon, but I can't even remember what he was trying to do. Was he even trying to do anything?
Not really.
Something with the Dark Network. I remember Cables.
Yeah.
Something with the crests.
Yeah. Then you run into Edamon in Cyber Sleuth, and he's just there for a good time, basically.
But he thinks he's Elvis. That's the only thing I remember about him.
Oh, I don't know what his voice actor was smoking, but he just decided, okay, we're making this guy do an Elvis.
Correct stuff is what he was.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna do an Elvis impression for this character. It's a kids show. It'll be awesome, and it was. He was correct,
Yep.
but it is still, in retrospect, what the fudge.
It's awesome
But
to the
his
point that
dying
it's
line, if I recall correctly, his dying line was, "You cannot destroy me! I've got too much talent!"
Sounds about right.
Actually, I probably should go back and watch the remake of Digimon 1 just to see exactly what they do with him there. Because that remake in general is a lot tighter story and generally a lot darker.
If you wanted to tighten up the story, you would just cut Itamon out entirely, along with his entire arc.
No.
Because
No.
he doesn't do anything except provide a series of monsters of the week in order for the crest to awaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His
They
end,
do cut Gekomon at least.
his end goal is the end of that arc's purpose is just to have Metal Greymon be a thing.
Basically, yeah.
Build up hype for the big toy.
Yes. By now, $50.
But Metal Greymon was like the worst outcome you could get on the digital pet.
He was on the
without
cover though.
actually ending up turning into the poop throwing thing.
I don't know where I'm going. I'm just wandering around. Picking up lizards.
Yeah, I'm just prancing.
Alright. So I think that's about it for the news without delving into stuff we don't want to talk about.
Yeah. I don't know how much of it'll carry over to next week, but I might draw some attention to it next week if it continues.
Well,
Only-
I mean, it depends on who we it depends on who we encounter who needs to be smeared as a result. Like, for instance, what's his name? The guy who runs Epic. What's his name again?
Randy
Pitch.
Pitchford.
No, that's the guy. No, he runs Take Two or Gearbox or one of those.
Yeah, he does. Who also needs to shut up, by the way. But that's
Well,
that's
he actually didn't post anything about it. Everybody else was discussing the murder, and he was just like posting about how excited he was about Borderlands. Just
Wait,
completely
Randy
tone
actually
deafly.
shut up for a change?
No, I don't know whether he shut up or whether he scheduled tweets or whether he's just got a one-track mind and only thinks about Borderlands launch. But yeah, that's what he was talking about.
Because usually if there's a bad take to be had, Randy Pitchford's right there.
Yeah, maybe he did, but the ones that I saw him talking about was about Borderlands. It's like, yeah, is this really... nobody's going to see this tweet, man.
Yeah. I did watch a little bit of Borderlands 2's, of 3, what are we up to now? 4's play, and the villains are a lot stronger this time around. So we'll give him that.
Hanks.
Wasn't the last villain like a streamer or something?
Yeah.
2 streamers.
All I need to know to not buy the
I get streamers are evil, but
yeah, I mean,
all you need to know to not buy is tanks. That's all you gotta remember.
The Epic guy, I don't think he was rejoicing in anybody's death, but he was the one saying that he came out to say that people had no right to object to it because it was free speech.
no. That is a spectacularly bad take.
Yeah,
Like, talk about a clunk.
Yeah.
He does know that objecting to what somebody says is still speech, right? No, didn't think so. People are not that smart.
So, yeah. Basically, so far, people have been flapping their faces, and a bunch of people been sacked for it so far.
I heard DC have cancelled an entire comic line over it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the author was being a shitlib.
Yep. They did. And the Ghost of Tsushima 2 lost, I think, one of their main directors.
Couldn't happen to a nicer bunch of people that also champion this exact same consequence for significantly less actions in the past.
Well, I mean, they are perfectly happy to countenance lethal consequences for words. So,
I mean,
I think losing your job is a pretty mild
Well, we know
Wild
that.
consequence.
Well, we
by
know they don't.
comparison.
We know they don't care about words because we had a guy that primarily used words, and they killed him.
Anyway, again, we didn't want to go down that rabbit hole, so the next week for it though is probably going to be pretty telling, and not necessarily for the better.
It has potential to be for the better.
It depends on what you define as better, I suppose.
Depends on who gets sacked.
At any rate, I didn't see any real gaming news other than the Nintendo stuff, and the Nintendo stuff just made me depressed because I didn't see basically anything that was new. It was all just remake,
It's
re-release, port, remake, re-release, port,
Yeah.
DLC, re-release, port.
Samus on a motorbike, and it's delayed till 3 years now or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
They wonder why I play Gacha Slop. At least they're going to come out every 6 weeks. I'm going to get some more story, and
And more
in the
waifus.
meantime, I get to speculate about what the new story will be. And if you play enough gachas, there's always new content. So,
But then when Silk Song comes out, you can't play because you gotta feed your addiction to gachas.
Obey the gacha gods.
well, I mean, I don't really have any intention of playing Silk Song until I play Hollow Knight, and goodness only knows how long that would take.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, definitely play Hollow Knight first.
Like, I mean, I don't even know how much of Hollow Knight you need to play. Like, because I'm not going to 100% it and clear all of the freaking DLC on Radiant, that's for sure.
No, but play through to the main story end at least.
How many endings are there?
Well, whichever one you choose to go for. There's 3 potential ones, but realistically, there's only one that actually finishes the game. The other 2 are early ends. Kind of like the Silk Song has 2 early ends. There's only one realistically classified as an ending.
Yeah. At least till the DLC happens, anyway.
I want the
And
bit
then
of
maybe
God.
in a decade, Hollow Knight 3.
Corner First Quest is coming.
Yes!
Gonna be our boy Cornifer, unless it's a Zote. I guess it could be Zote. Zote's got a lot of
could be
backstory
Zote.
to explore. He hates
Nah,
his dad.
actually, Zote would be the spin-off kids game.
No, Zote's sort of presets imply he's got a pretty freaking dark past.
He seriously does, actually, yeah. But
Like, he may be delusional, but he's clearly had a lot of fallings out with a lot of people in a big way.
Or he is just insane.
a bit of both.
I mean, yeah, it could be that he dreamed it all, but yes, I mean, that seems to be in fashion over those parts.
Yeah. So anyway, let's wrap up then.
All right. Email topic of the week. I'm going to continue to pin it as Silk Song if you're playing. Let me know. There's a bunch of Hoyo stuff going on you can talk to us about. If I will try to pre-read the email next time so we don't cover all of it in the week section. I can actually respond more directly to you if you send us an email. I just kind of threw it in there without thinking this one. And yeah, we will see you next week. Y'all got anything for us to send us out? Nope. Okay.
Nope.
Sayonara. Bye-bye.